What's going on, y'all? It's Malcolm, and welcome to the Loung'n podcast. Whether you're joining us for the first time or you're a returning lounger, I'm excited to have you here. For our new listeners, Loung'n is a podcast where we dive into a variety of topics that I find fascinating. From video games, fragrances, movies, shows, to comics, all along the way, we'll have engaging discussions and entertaining conversations. And for my returning loungers, welcome back. Your support really does mean the world to me, and I appreciate you pulling up. Whether you're new or returning, I do encourage you to follow the podcast so you never miss an episode. Whether you decided to hit that follow button before we begin, in the middle of an episode that catches your interest, or after you listen to what you feel is a fire episode, your support is truly appreciated. Let's keep the conversations going and the community growing. Thank you for being a part of the Lounge crew. What's going on? It's Malcolm, and welcome back to the Loung'n podcast. Today's episode is Infinity Insights, and I got my good buddy John Sloan back in here. If you remember, if you've listened, he was on my last comic book episode, and I invited him back here so we can talk about more comics, more Marvel comics specifically, because I feel like there's, quite a bit going on with Marvel since the last time we've talked. What do you think?
Oh, definitely, especially with Doomsday coming up and the like Daredevil stepping into the MCU universe.
A little closer to you, my bad.
As well as, especially with the reboot of the cartoons, with the X-Men 97 coming back out.
Yeah.
You got the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and they're really kind of tying everything together to move forward now that they pretty much own all the properties again.
Right, yeah. And I feel like, because Marvel had that state of just like everybody just not really just, I guess, in agreeing with what they're doing. She-Hulk, rightfully so in a sense. We talked about that last time, but some of the movies people had issues with, like people even had issues with Captain America. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was fine, but I don't know what you thought about it.
I think it's like system overload. You get so many Marvel movies back to back to back, and then like people had a chance to hate on the DC universe because it was going at the same time. Marvel was so much better. Well, DC hasn't put anything out.
Right.
So what's left to do? Well, hate on what's left.
Yeah. And I was just saying, like on one of my podcasts, I feel like it's like Marvel, people have pushed Marvel into a ditch, and no matter what they try to do to get out of this ditch, people keep like pushing them back into it.
Hate on it. No matter what the deal is, somebody's got to hate on it. And I look at the Marvel universe as a branch of a comic. Like, right, exactly. In the comics, you have Secret Wars, you have Armored Wars, you have Infinity Wars. There's a whole lot of wars. But in now MCU, I don't view it as, and I think that's the problem. You got your comic book diehards that want it to stay strictly comic book. You got the other side that gets confused and in between.
Right, yeah.
And I think it's the online community, the comic book side, that's louder. Mm-hmm. And it's because they want everything to be
source material.
Right. Where it's like, this is just another universe. Right. It's Universe 616 or whatever they're calling it. And
my thing is, it's like, if you want the source material, then go back to the source. You know what I mean? It's like Jay-Z said, like, people want my old shit, will buy my old albums. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, in fact, Daredevil actually recently did something to hint at, like, if you want more information, like, read a comic book.
Oh, like I noticed, like, because I've been reading the Turtle comics, and like halfway through, they'll have like a little note at the bottom, in a corner somewhere, and like to find out what happened or how this came about, read this comic. You know what I mean?
Right. And so I think it's the Instagram of the Daredevil, MCU version of the Daredevil show. Right. They just showed a clip from the comics about Foggy.
Oh.
And so they're basically saying, like, you're questioning everything. You want to know, like, there's a comics, there are comics out there to read. If you don't like our storyline, like, here's another.
Right, yeah.
Because what happened in the new Born Again mirrors almost what happened in the comics.
Really? Oh, wow.
Little difference, and of course the payoff, whether they're going to do it or not, is up in the air. And that's, of course, spoiler. If it's a comic book wise, it'd be a huge spoiler, but if not, then it's just another storyline. But
what do you think about his yellow costume?
I like the iterations. I like they're kind of going through the different
phases of
the costumes. And then, you've seen the whole stills of the upcoming last few episodes where you got the solid blood red outfit and stuff. So like, I do like that, and that goes a lot with my neighborhood Spider-Man where, you went through all the iterations to get to the red and blue.
Yeah, that was so cool. I really like that show actually blew me away. It really did.
So first episode, I was like, oh, okay, this is just, crazy, another universe version, blah, blah. But then the way they tie it full circle into the last episode, you kind of see
it's like it connects with the first episode, which like I had to pause it and like try to like wrap my head around what was how did that happen.
I rewatched the first episode right after watching the finale just to like, because I was like, wow, that was
cool.
nice.
Yeah, it is cool. I think somebody said that like it's like a paradox basically. He
created himself.
Yeah, which is crazy to think about. Which Flash is as well,
right? Because he's the lightning strike that caused it all.
Right? Yeah, and like, well, if it weren't for him being who he is, Eobard Thawne wouldn't have grown to like him, but then ended up resenting him to where he came back and did what he did to try to kill his mom and all this other stuff. And like that whole series of things just keeps recreating itself, which is it's just.
I enjoy when they show a version of time travel that's just not like it. Time travel is whatever you think it is, but it actually makes it plausible because it actually ties to a reason why it all happened in the first place. Yeah. And like
that was a big trip, man.
Because like, how would you have a superpowered spider if you've never had a man with
exactly. It had to come from somewhere. Like it's like kind of which came first, the chicken or the egg, and it's just like
Of course, that show took a lot of liberties with what people know as Spider-Man, which I also enjoyed.
Which it was cool for me. I enjoyed that as well, but I feel like the liberties fit a lot of the characters, even Dr. Connors. It felt like Otto Octavius. It felt like they pulled him one out of the comics and one out of the 90s animated Spider-Man show. You know what I mean? Because I actually started watching that because of the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I was just like, they look the same,
right? Like, and of course, I even like the stylized they did with it because it's a cell shaded, almost like a comic book that you're watching it. But
and it has like the panel to panel sometimes, you know what I mean? And it's just, I was thoroughly impressed. Like, and I was reading a Reddit and someone said that the race swap with Osborn, what's his name? God.
Harry and Norman.
Yeah, Harry and Norman Osborn. It just fits because he's always had that wavy hair, but as a black person, it fits. You know what I mean? So
well, and it was such a subtle change that it doesn't change who they are. It changes nothing, and it's just like.
And I love that all throughout the series, he just wore nothing but green. You know?
Yes. Well, and that's something I really enjoyed about it full circle because I know the premise when it first came out was like, instead of Tony Stark being his mentor, it's Norman. Well, Norman Osborn was always his mentor.
Right, yeah.
Like, that's something comic book fans know, but MCU doesn't. They say Tony Stark. But it's like, he's always pushed that engineering style. And pushing, I want you smarter and smarter. And then,
right.
And the end of it even showed like a hint of maybe Green Goblin still to come or whatever.
Yeah, because of the glider, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he had the glider. You had... Octavius with all the things in his jail cell. You had the symbiote. You had a whole bunch of things that could lead to season 2. So
right, and the fact that like I guess when he was going to save Spider-Man, but he sent the glider instead. I thought he was going to suit up as a Green Goblin, but what led me to think that is because like all the different suits that he was making for Peter, I thought maybe he had already made the Green Goblin suit for himself. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's just.
Season 2. You never know.
I know, and it sucks when a show's that good, and now you got to wait a whole like however long for the next season.
I've got a mental spin on it. Like, if you watch Venom, I know that technically Venom is still Sony, which I don't want to talk about, but
right, yeah.
But with Venom, Venom has a personality, and
Eddie Brock.
Eddie Brock has a personality. Like it's two personalities.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me wants that symbiote to create the Green Goblin inside of him. So that's why he has the evil persona and then the bipolar.
Right, yeah.
Green Goblin is the symbiote part of him at night, where the day part is Harry, Norman Osborn. And
that'd be cool.
Because it's just that little piece that was there at the end.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what gives, because But still, like, even it's almost like it's really pushing Norman. It'd be pushing Norman just over the edge that he's already standing at.
Exactly. It's just that last push to into insanity.
You see it in his eyes. Like, you see it in his eyes when he says this or he says that, when like the camera's zooming in as he's like talking about whatever. Like, this dude is crazy. And honestly, it kind of gives me the chills just thinking about it.
Well, it's that fine line between like how crazy does passion push you? You see that a lot of with musicians.
Well,
you know, Kanye's went way over here.
Right, yeah.
When it's like, if it wasn't for that passion that's pushed him way over here, that's what his music is. Like, it's just pushing all that and putting all of himself into that. When you don't have that outlet,
right,
you got to open your mouth. And that's where...
Oh, exactly. And just the fact that like he used all the interns to make their own, part of the machine that was the portal to open up the symbiote. It was crazy. And it's just, that's like essentially opening up a new world, you know what I mean? Right. Or just more, basically, when it comes to that universe. And I love when I can just sit there and just binge watch a show, and really, and I love that adaptation of Peter too, because he reminded me of Tom Holland somewhat. But they had like the yellow sweater vest that kind of resembled like the earlier issues of Peter in the comics and whatnot.
Right.
And
watching that, I realized that as much as I enjoyed Tom Holland, I don't think I really liked the movies as much as I thought I did.
I like the last one because it was, tying 3 different universes together, and it just really I don't know, it just gave different perspectives of different Peters from different universes, and the fact that like they were able to all come together at the end. They were a little fumbling at first whenever they were trying to work together, but then they kind of like, it's weird because it's like we're our own person, but we're all the same in a sense, and I like that, and they came together as one.
It's like if I knew Tom Holland was going to stick around for another, just throw a number out there, 5 movies, then I could see 1, 2, and 3 setting up to the universe we know and love, where MJ will now go by Mary Jane because she's older,
right? Yeah,
and and then since you don't know who he is now, he can date like a Gwen Stacy, and there's no retcon of like, why doesn't MJ like him now? Because now you can date someone else and retcon it all together, which would go awesome. And I do love Far From Home or whatever, because the 3 Spider-Man is just unbeatable, and it's just a movie moment that I won't forget. But
that still, when they were all in the air at one, that just, god dang, man, just gives me goosebumps.
Well, and then it gave all 3 of them closure too. Well, 2 of them closure. Series that just were ended without no fanfare. It just.
And it's crazy because it took like their grief to talk Tom Holland off the ledge that he was about to, jump off of.
And you forget how good of the actors they actually are too.
Right. Yeah. Oh,
it brought a lot of depth to the a comic book movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Andrew Garfield, like you can see that like he doubted himself about. I love how they tied it in with him being amazing. Like no, you are amazing. Yeah. I was like, that's so cool. But yeah, like I like that, and like Tobey Maguire, him being older, and when Dr. Octopus or whatever asked him how he was doing, he's like, I'm doing better, like insinuating that he was still kind of struggling with some things and whatnot, but things seem like to be getting on track and whatnot. But it's just like they all have their struggles, and it grounded them, it fleshed them out, really, and I appreciate that. You know what I mean? So but I mean, that was my first question to Spider-Man anyway.
Yeah, it was a series that I've been meaning to try out, and then I ended up binging it in 2 days.
Yeah, exactly.
It was amazing. It was everything I would want in a newer series without spoiling the past series either.
Oh yeah.
I enjoy something new when it just don't have to beat a dead horse. Like I like Ben Hardy being passed away. I like just the whole setup in general, where it's just flowed straight into a movie or straight into a show.
I love that whenever they mentioned Ben, that like when she was driving, I don't know if you noticed this, but her ring, it like glimmered a little bit.
Every time,
as soon as they,
small things like that.
Yeah, I was like, damn. I was wondering if it was just me that noticed that, but then there was somebody mentioning it online, so I was like, okay, all right. So
I do enjoy the fact they went with the younger May version.
Oh yeah,
that was the one thing as a kid that always was like, why is his why is his hand so old? It's like, it's supposed to be just his Aunt May.
Right. Like,
she was always like elderly.
Yeah. I mean, it's his dad's sister, right? Because at the end, it's kind of like a different twist that we didn't see coming. That we've never. I think we've seen something hinting towards that. I guess in one iteration, but that threw me for a loop.
The Amazing with Garfield. They did that. I think for the first movie. Right. Still alive, but they did nothing with it. So.
Yeah. I wonder if they just had, but they probably had intentions on it, maybe thinking about a third movie, but I guess, that didn't come to fruition. So, I guess they just dished that, which I appreciated all the villains in, The Amazing Spider-Man, other than the Rhino. The Rhino was kind of like, I feel like maybe the video game adaptation for the PlayStation, they took what they were trying to do and actually made it better with Rhino having like the armor and stuff like that. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I was just saying, it actually gave a realism to it instead of just like
it made it make sense.
Half Rhino, whatever the comic book and
which Paul Giamatti is a great actor, but I feel like that it was kind of wasted, right?
Exactly, yeah.
But I mean, honestly, I really felt another thing I appreciated about the series is that I was attached to each character. I really genuinely cared about what was happening with each character. When Peter and Nico had their rift, I was rooting for them to, amend what happened. You know what I mean? I wanted him to be able to fully explain to Nico that like I got these powers and I'm still trying to understand them myself. And this is what's been going on. And I can't tell everybody because I'm afraid of these people coming to hurt you, my family, etc. But
like you said, every character on the show had a story.
Right. Yeah.
Whether it be Finesse, working with Daredevil behind the scenes, the whole series, or Nico and then her budding relationship with Harry on top of also being best friends with Peter, and then, like you said, the rift that, which Harry helped patch up a little bit.
Right,
but,
yeah.
And then even like Lonnie with Tombstone, and it just...
You felt bad.
Horrible, but at the same time, like, it was natural. It felt realistic to that extent.
It really did. It's like... It wasn't... I guarantee, other than like the whole, chemical shit going on. Right. I feel like that's happened so many times. A brother probably stepped in to, fill in for his little brother who's gotten into some shit that, he wasn't supposed to get into. And so now that took a good guy who had everything going for him and just threw it all down the drain. And it just, it was so bad. Like him throwing his coat out the car.
So symbolic. Last scene with him. Yeah.
God, man. And it's just like, and it felt cool. It felt good because it gave you hope when him and Peter were working together. Like when Peter was Spider-Man and they were like, he had his powers as Tombstone and whatnot. Yeah. And like, he thought he got crushed and whatnot, but really he kind of like came through at the last moment to save Peter. And it's just like, oh shit, they're working together. You know what I'm saying? But then it's just like
season 2 is going in now. And he's the leader of the 101st or whatever. And
right. Yeah. I forget who the original leader reminds me of. It's somebody like an actor. He just reminds me of somebody, but I was just like, damn. But him to bail on his team like that was kind of like, low down and stuff like that, especially when, he didn't want to be a part of that gang and he kind of like took a stabbing for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and then all that stuff just came to play to where he's now the leader of the gang. That's like, oh my gosh, man. That show is just so like...
I was going to say, for a cartoon, it hit like...
I really felt like they made it more for adults as well because, the language and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. I enjoyed that because it was very grown up in that aspect.
Yeah,
like,
I was like,
you can watch it with your kids, but at the same time, like there's... it hits home for the older generation too.
Right. And I was like, man, like these people, see, this is like, I really didn't think Marvel lost it, man. Like this project felt well cared for. Or I don't know if maybe Spider-Man is their like, poster boy or something like that, or their baby and they have to like, try to do them right and justice. But, I just really felt like they came through with this one. And do you know if there's any word on like the Spider-Verse movie by chance or...
did think I saw somewhere where they are planning on doing a third.
Right.
But that's all. Like it was just Of course, everything rolls into the other Marvel stuff, and it kind of gets pushed to the side. But
which is unfortunate because I mean, like, how do you try something so good? Like,
right?
It's just like because I feel like the third movie was already scheduled to be out like a year ago or something like that. You know,
so I don't know. Which, of course, this was supposed to be the Friendly Neighborhood Spider was supposed to be released like a year ago. Also,
oh my gosh,
it went through 2 or 3 iterations before it came on to what it is now.
So I wonder if like all the different like concept arts is what like the different iterations that it went through is from what they're showing. You know what I mean?
Possibly because I do know storyline wise, it was supposed to hint more of like tie straight into the Marvel verses and like that Peter Parker and everything that's going on with Tom Holland, and then they kind of was like, oh, hold on, we can hit a different beat now that we got this multiverse popping in. So it's like, oh, let's scratch that, and now we can do something totally different in our own own pocket because we have the multiverse is opened up. So now we can just throw things at a wall. That's why you get a Nico thrown in there. That's why you get
and she's from the Runaways, right?
Yeah,
which I haven't watched, which I saw like a while ago when it was like on like I don't know if it's still on Hulu or not, but
I think it's still on Hulu. But like, there's a few that I just never got. Like, I know the names from the show or whatever, but like I've never gotten the Lock and Key, which is apparently a Marvel product. Runaways, some things like that. But it is cool to bring these characters that they have like it's okay to have somebody just be a bit player. Like they didn't get into her mysticism all the way until literally like the end of episode 10.
And which is cool because I mean I wonder if like you know like the Runaways, like did she run away and that's what landed her to where she is with Peter, you know? So I love when it makes you want to go back and like you know try to go watch those shows that they came from.
What exactly. Now it's piqued my interest with Runaways. So,
and I like that Charlie Cox, you know, was to reprise his role as Daredevil in that show, which is like
you can tell he just has nothing but love for that. Him and D'Onofrio both are just like they love Kingpin and Daredevil and everything that goes along with it.
The guy who plays, the guy that plays Kingpin, he has so much range. Like, you know, like...
Yeah, as I say, all the way back to, what is it?
Men in Black is what I remember him from. Like,
that's right. He was the bug.
Yeah. Which was
crazy. The first time I remember him is back when he was the... Platoon, where he was the guy that kills himself in the bathroom. Like,
wasn't he on a Law and Order too?
Yeah, he was on Law and Order for a while. But he's just like you said, it's just ranged all across the board.
Like it's like, man, like he gets lost in these characters, and I mean, and you appreciate it. Like I appreciate it, you know, because I'm afraid of him. Like it's that character
with
Kingpin.
That range, especially with like now that he's if you kind of curveball over to Daredevil a little bit, but now that he's mayor,
right,
and everything else, it like his actor range has carried him through these roles very well too. Because with the first Daredevil, where it's like he's a ruthless kingpin,
right? Yeah,
and then even into Echo, where he's a father figure,
right? Yeah,
and then now into now he's in a mayoral role where it's like I'm trying to leave my violence behind because I got an agenda, but there's leave my wife out of it. Just like this whole. He plays the husband. He plays the Kingpin, and he plays the mayor. All three in one role.
Yeah, that is cool. I can't remember who was like a villain, but they were running for mayor as well, or something like that. I can't remember.
So it always happens with Luthor and Smallville and any Superman or iteration. He's usually going for governor, mayor, or even president.
So speaking of the Daredevil, like, what are your thoughts on the new series, I guess, in relation to the original Netflix Marvel shows?
The only small thing I had about the original series was that it was tied with the MCU, that it wasn't tied. It was like we could sit here and say New York was destroyed by an alien invasion to let you know that it was like the first Avengers movie, but like that was the tie-in.
Right, yeah.
So it was like it was cool to see a whole generation and a whole like Harlem had this whole little underworld going.
Like Hell's Kitchen and
Hell's Kitchen. With you got Daredevil in one scene, you got Jessica Jones in the other one, you got Luke Cage in the other part of it. So it was cool that they built their own little universe. But I like that it's full circle tied in now to the MCU, and I also like the story progression. It really seemed like it's been X amount of years since the first series ended to now.
Oh, okay, cool.
So, because I mean, you still even had like everything with Bullseye, you know?
Right, yeah. Which is, I think I just found out the other day, like he has adamantium skeleton too.
Yeah, he was
didn't know that.
Paralyzed at the end of the original run.
Okay.
I think it was Kingpin even that dropped, or he dropped, or somebody dropped him off the roof, whatever.
Right.
And he was paralyzed, and then they grafted the adamantium onto him so he could walk again.
Whoa.
And that's what leads full circle into the beginning of the series here. So
right, yeah. So I'm wondering, okay.
And of course, that's a word that could be used in Marvel now. Adamantium, since the Captain America movie.
Right, yeah. Well, I was going to say, I was trying to figure out who just introduced the adamantium into the universe, which was Captain America, because it came from the Celestial or whatever that was popping. And it's like people were complaining about even them, like, finally coming back to the Celestial that's popping out, and like, oh, nobody's mentioning it up until Captain America. It's like, you know what I'm saying? They're finally mentioning it. They found a way to tie the adamantium in.
Imagine if that happened in our real world.
Right.
Like, governments are going to jump all over it, and you're not going to be able to even go near that thing for years. So, like, coincidentally enough, the government's the first people in Harrison Ford to say adamantium. Like, it made it realistic in that aspect. Like, it doesn't need to be in every movie of like,
right, exactly.
We went over the North Pole and saw a random half celestial being. Like,
right, okay. Yeah, because I mean, like, you know, each movie had its own agenda. They don't have to like mention it like every time, you know, there's a new movie, new show or something like that. Oh, by the way, there's something poking out of the freaking earth. But back to what we were saying, you know, type shit.
Like, it's cool to have a throwback line or something.
Right,
but like, you don't need to force it.
Like, we know it's there. You know what I mean? Like, that's good enough. You know, we don't have to like keep obsessing over it, man. But do you think the reboot of Daredevil means that the other Defenders in the Punisher will also be rebooted, or will it just be cameos in the Daredevil series?
I do know they're doing a Punisher one-off, if not a series.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a lot like they did with those Halloween ones where they did what is that, the Man Thing? Yeah, Man Thing and Werewolf by Night. Yeah. So it could just be a standoff one series like that where it's just, but they are doing something with Punisher, and I would love to. I know Jessica Jones has already said, or
the actress
Karen Ritter or something. Well, she's already said she's down.
Okay.
So I would love to see it, and I really hope they do, even if it's just in the Daredevil universe. Like,
exactly.
Like, morph it into a Defender series.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Because I think that's what people were most disappointed about. You know, it's just
like they did the one-off, and then it was like everything died.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I wonder if maybe this was like their plan in the beginning. Like, maybe we're just going to put a pin in it for right now. But like, you know, we want to do some other stuff, but then like bring it back and then figure out what to do with it then. I don't know. But it just seems like it had a really, I feel like it had quite a bit of buzz. You know what I mean? Like,
it did. Because like, I mean, outside of Iron Fist, everything else was loved.
Right. Yeah.
Defenders and everything else going on.
Yeah. Because like Jessica Jones had like a little bit more like I like that she was a powerhouse, like Private Eye, you know what I mean? Right. And like Daredevil, I mean, I feel like, man, I don't remember the last time I've seen anything like live action so gruesome. Like, you know, and
it was just the fight scenes, the way they do the one shots where it's just like, you know, the hallway scenes where he starts at one end and goes to the other with no cuts. And it's just amazing.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of like that jail scene in The Punisher, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like, oh, man. And that too, man. And John, what's his name? John Bernthal? How you pronounce it?
Yeah, that's whatever. Bernthal or something for Punisher. Yeah.
I think he's nailed it, man. I think so.
They casted very well for that show. Like, especially with it to originate outside of the MCU, which I think honestly probably helped them even more because they didn't go for the names that you've heard of.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they went for just actors that could hit a role.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you didn't have to get a lister here that we could throw in a movie.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it was pretty cool, man. And I was hoping more for Iron Fist, though, you know what I mean? Because I watched him in some other iterations and whatnot, and I know what he's capable of, but it just kind of seemed like...
Yeah, I'll say, that's the one thing, like, even with Shang-Chi, or like, Oriental or even like martial arts style superheroes, just, I've always been a swing and a miss. And like, why can't they hit it when you have so many, and that's, get a martial arts director, get a Japanese, Chinese director, and just like nail it. Just do it right.
Well, yeah. I mean, and like so many different like superheroes actually practice martial arts, like Captain America,
right?
Black Panther, Blade, like all these different people.
So why can't you nail it when it comes to
yeah. So that's what I don't understand.
Shang-Chi was pretty good. I'll give it. I'll give it. It's
like Dragon Ball Z-esque, a little bit.
It was
like, okay.
And I love they kept with just the whole atmosphere, like everything from like. His mom was actually more of a badass than his dad was with 10 rings. Just all of it.
Yeah, and the fact that his dad just had like a stronghold over like their whole like culture and shit like that. He was like a kingpin of sorts.
Well, I mean, if you go Oriental culture, he was very much of the dynasty, leading him from a dynasty role. So
yeah. So it's just like he was like well feared, you know what I mean? And his son to take over and change things from there.
And of course, they tied it into the OG 10 rings from Iron Man. So
yeah. That was cool. Sorry. Let's see.
No, you're good.
So what are your expectations for the new Fantastic Four movie after watching the trailer? And do you think this iteration will finally get it right?
And this might be an unpopular opinion. I don't think they ever got it wrong.
You think so?
I mean, I love the first two.
The first two, I do think they were good. I think
they could have kept going. There was nothing wrong with it. And
I think Chris Evans was a perfect Johnny Storm.
Arrogant and hot-headed. Now, we don't talk about the Miles Teller version, but everything else was hit. It was, they knocked it out. In which I don't see where, from what I understand from just rumors and stuff popping up, is that it's literally going to be like they're already the Fantastic Four.
They're all what?
They're already the Fantastic Four. It's not an origin story.
Oh, right.
Let's go.
Yeah.
This is the Fantastic Four. This is their universe. This is what's already going on. You're coming into their world.
Okay. So it's like, skipping that origin story, like kind of like no more Uncle Ben got killed. We got to go through that whole shit anymore.
It's like, if you're a comic fan, you already know who the Fantastic Four is. You got the stretchy guy, you got the thing, you got, bam, this is the world. So I've even heard they're already to the point of like him and Sue Storm having a kid.
Oh.
So apparently the story... rumor has it the story's going to revolve around Franklin a little bit.
Yeah, and he's like the most powerful, like
he grows up to be the most powerful mutant or whatever.
Yeah, because he can create and augment different like realities and shit, right?
Right. So apparently it's like Galactus and even Doomsday pops in, and everybody's trying to get their hands on Franklin because what he's going to grow into.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So
and Silver Surfer's in it also. So
I heard that they're gender swapping the Silver Surfer. Yeah. Do you know about that, or do you know if it's true?
So everything I've read that said that it was a I saw the screener and I saw this. Everything says man, but then I've heard it's a girl. So I think it's a female Silver Surfer, and I think that's
which like
is what it is.
Yeah, because like if you know the Silver Surfer, there's many different Silver Surfers. Right. You got the Ghost Rider. You got so many. Even I think Spider-Man was like the Silver Surfer at one point, or he had the cosmic power.
Right. I was saying, no matter how you spin it, like almost everybody's done everything.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So, Ghost Rider's been about 50 different iterations. Right. So it's like. So I'm good with it as long as the story is still good. I don't care about gender swapping.
We're in a day and age.
Don't take me out of it.
Right? Yeah. If the person can nail their role and really, I can buy them as being the Silver Surfer or whatever the case may be, then cool, fine.
Right?
You know what I mean?
It's a random like offshoot from what we're even talking about. But I listened to a podcast it was about Smallville. It was Michael Rosenbaum's podcast.
Right? Yeah.
And he interviewed Aaron Ashmore, which played Jimmy Olsen on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that was like his biggest argument is he wasn't Jimmy Olsen.
Right.
It was just James Olsen. And it literally it took him completely out of who he is, because it's like, you want to play it as Jimmy Olsen and you want to give everybody the Jimmy Olsen, just find out that's not even what it is.
Right. Yeah.
So it took him totally out as an actor, because he was just mailing it in at the end because he's like, this ain't, this ain't what I signed up for.
I mean, He could have been a Henry Cavill because apparently Henry Cavill was correcting people on set. Like, no, Superman wouldn't do this. He actually would do that, you know.
Apparently he tried and was shot down. Like he even wanted, because apparently his brother, this is just from the podcast, his brother was in like first season or second season, his twin brother. And it's like Aaron Ashmore's.
Okay.
So he was like, at least let us make a passing comment. Like these fans aren't idiots.
Right, yeah.
Let's quit treating them like they are idiots.
Yeah.
Like just even give a man, you look familiar. Like just a simple line like that.
Yeah,
it's like, but too many directors and producers want to treat people like they're idiots. And I think that's one thing Kevin Feige, like, contrary to what everybody believes, I don't think he wants to treat people like they're idiots.
Right, yeah. Yeah, because
so it's like, okay, you can have a female Silver Surfer. What's it going to hurt? It's still the Silver Surfer. Period.
Right, yeah. I mean, if you know the source material, then, I mean, that shouldn't be a problem because I don't think people had a problem. I was just thinking about this the other day. I don't think people had a problem with, what's his name? Samuel L. Jackson's character.
Oh, Nick Fury. Nobody batted an eye because nobody even knew comics at the time. Let's be honest. Like
going back to me watching the Spider-Man series, the 90s, I'm like, oh shit, he's white.
Yeah.
He's been Nick Fury for so long, Samuel L. Jackson, and you forgot he was white.
Yeah, you don't even think about it.
So, like, you know, it's just like, I think people pick and choose, like, what characters they don't want to race or gender swap, which is crazy to me.
Right, and then, they're arguing over Robert Downey Jr. now.
Being
gender swapping or race swapping.
Oh, because
he's not Romanian.
Oh.
Even though it's from a made-up country, it's just where it's derived from. They think it should be a Romanian actor, and it's like, come on. Like,
yeah, I mean, come on.
First off, you know how much it's going to add to the story?
Oh yeah, because from what I understand, Robert Downey Jr. or Tony Stark actually is Doom. Like he was supposed to be Dr. Doom, but I think from what some people say that they speculate that he was just adopted or something like that by the Starks, and so that led him into becoming the Iron Man that we know. But really, it's kind of like a Goku situation where he crash landed on Earth, hit his head. He was supposed to be, take over the Earth, but he ended up being Goku and good. You know what I mean? But really, the Doom that we're about to meet is actually what Tony Stark should have been.
Well, and it's you're hating on something before you even see it.
Right, yeah. Granted, like there might not have been like some like amazing pieces that Marvel's put out, but I don't think that they've led us astray, throughout the 20 years that they've been putting out movies.
And I also don't think this is the end game.
You don't think so?
No, I don't even think this is like the Dr. Doom is coming on the screen soon.
Right.
I don't think it's going to be like never showing up again in a Fantastic Four. Like this is the end game.
Okay.
It's a multiverse.
Right. Yeah.
Like it's in many actors can be many roles. You've seen that with, Wolverine and Deadpool. Like
right. Yeah. Yeah.
With Chris Evans, like we were talking earlier. So like I think it's going to come to a head. Not in Doomsday, but I think the one after that's going to be Secret Wars, which is
okay. Like.
I don't even think if it follows with that, then we're going to have a Beyonder showing up soon, which creates the Secret Worlds because he grabs pretty much people from the different battle worlds and makes the own world, and that's it. And that's how you battle to the one universe.
Right. Yeah.
That's going to tie in why you've never had a mutant, why you've never had the Fantastic Four, why you've never, this Doomsday, imagine, because if you look at just the chairs that displayed for the upcoming Doomsday.
It was so many.
And every 15 minutes it was killing me. It took like 5 hours to get through.
Yeah, I was like, oh, wait, Patrick Stewart, like, because, he got killed in, which movie was that? The Wanda?
Doctor Strange. I thought it was WandaVision too.
Yeah.
Me and Stacey were arguing about that the other day. I was like, no, so we ended up watching Doctor Strange again just to see it. But
okay. It was like him, James Marsden, like, I guess the original, like, X-Men, because you got Kelsey Grammer in there as well.
Yeah, he showed up in the Marvels out of all places.
Yeah.
But I think you're going to take all these different iterations, all these things, and throw it into the Doomsday. But there was names that weren't on the Doomsday movie. You didn't see Tom Holland's chair.
Right, yeah.
You didn't see certain other things. And I've heard that Spider-Man 4 is going to actually take place during Doomsday, but he's got his own issues going on during Doomsday.
Oh, shit. kind of like how with the Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, how they separated his iteration from the Civil War. Like he was watching like like them reported on the TV. Right. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like he wasn't a part of the Civil War in that iteration, and which was cool.
I have a feeling what they're going to do is save that RDJ moment for Spider-Man in the next movie where he sees him and thinks Tony Stark is back.
Oh shit. That'd be, my God.
And so, and because
that'd be crazy.
In Secret Wars, you have a bunch of like team ups that aren't conventional. Like you have Thanos on the good guys team. Like,
oh, yeah.
Which if they ever show that Thanos Doomsday battle, it's going to be an ultimate like movie clip, especially if they do it accurate. But,
which it would be cool if like they did tie Spider-Man back to like thinking that, I guess, Dr. Doom was Tony Stark, and that was just that would mess him up because he's taking it pretty hard with Tony Stark's passing. You know what I mean? And so to see his face, but it's a villain. That's God, man.
Just the emotional roller coaster will send him through, or even just he could literally get him to join his team without ever divulging who he truly is.
Right? Yeah, that'd be
until
cool.
that moment. Just a lot of different things you could do with casting RDJ in the same role.
Is that what was the other wars you were talking about where they take like the Beyonders start taking everybody from different? It's
called Secret Wars.
Secret Wars.
It's like basically the concept is like there's a secret battle that nobody knows about because they pulled heroes and villains from certain comic books, basically worlds, and combine them all into one. So you're gonna everybody that you've ever heard of is in there in one iteration, but that also means you could have multiple iterations.
Okay.
You can have 2 different versions of Fantastic Four in it. You can have multiple X-Men in it. You can have...
Dragon Ball did something like that. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but they would have like this villain was like taking like different Z heroes from like different universes.
Right.
You had the Super Saiyan 4 Goku fighting alongside Super Saiyan Blue Goku.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I can show you after this. Which is crazy. It's what it reminds me of, but I can't remember if they're fighting to like make one universe again or something like that.
I'm not even sure I would have to look again. It's been a long time since I really dove into it, but in my mind, that's what the end goal will be. Is like that's how you get the X-Men universe, instead of saying like, oh, this is another universe that we just forgot to talk about. Or, or these X-Men have always been here. They just never helped on any of the battles. It's like now you can combine all of this.
Yeah. And then like, because with the multiverse, I feel like it's great, but it can keep expanding because it's just so, vast, with so many universes. So I guess it's a way to like, kind of like, all right, we're going to reel it back in, we got to expand.
Well, and especially since they started off without having everything. They kind of just threw it in, and it's like, well, we already did X-Men here, we did X-Men here, we did, so now it's like, especially when it comes to actors, that's how you can retcon everything into one world,
right? Yeah,
and one everything, which I thought they were going to do it with Wanda and Scarlet Witch, because I know in the House of M, she had the moment where it's like no more mutants and all mutants end.
Oh damn!
And like that's like, and so like she wished mutants on. I thought it was going to be the other way.
Right. Yeah.
Like she's going to be like, I want a world of mutants, or like, I want people to be like me or whatever.
Right.
And that's what adds all the mutants to the world. So,
if I'm not mistaken, like, isn't like the Secret Wars where Miles Morales came from, or no?
It's around that time frame. So yeah.
Because I think they wanted to, because I think he ended up fighting in it or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think as it was about to, like, I don't know, like all worlds about to end or something like that. I can't remember. I remember seeing something about it, like him probably, being a part of it or whatever. But yeah, I really, honestly, like that would be, we got so many different iterations of Miles and no live action yet. That's what's breaking my heart.
And to me, that's a great way for them to carry on. Like, Into the Spider-Verse is the perfect way to do a live action.
Right, yeah.
I mean, it just is what it is.
Yeah,
because you can have Tobey Maguire teaching a new person, Miles Morales, or what, like, because that's basically what happens in the, it's the old disheveled, him and Mary Jane didn't work out. Like, that's Tobey Maguire. That could be that version. And then
Miles could be related to MJ since, you know, she's of color, you know?
Right, knows? Which, I mean, they did in the very first one of the new trilogy. He arrests the Prowler.
No.
And he's like, man, I'm doing this for my nephew. And it's just a small little, like, but if you hit the last name, I think it's like, or he goes, I'm doing this for my nephew Miles or something like that. Just a quick little, man, I'm trying to remember the actor that got arrested for that, or that was in that part, but I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Jeez. Oh, you talking about because Donald Glover?
That's exactly. Donald Glover did play it. Yeah,
he was Across the Spider-Verse, wasn't he? Because he was in that little the bubbles that he had each Spider-Man that they want to send back to the universe.
Yes,
in.
That's
he was as the Prowler because everybody in not Homecoming. Was it Homecoming the first one?
I
think Homecoming was the first one.
And, because it was Homecoming back to the MCU at the same time.
Right, and like everybody speculated, like, oh man, that is that's Aaron or whatever, and then and they made it full circle, like, okay, he is the Prowler, like he does become the Prowler, and seeing him in a Prowler costume, which is just really, oh my gosh, they even had like the PlayStation Spider-Man in his own little bubble as well. I was like, damn,
Donald Glover is actually the reason they made Miles Morales.
Yeah, because he had a little campaign like Donald for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, which I think he was a little too old to play Miles Morales, but
at the time it was a fun thought though.
Right? Yeah, for sure. Like I was for it because I wanted to see him. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I think that's honestly like they probably are casting for Miles, secretly, so I feel like that's underway. So do you think like Dr. Doom will appear in the Fantastic Four?
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say like,
because he's their main villain though, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if it'll be a different iteration.
Right.
And, and then this is like, I just couldn't imagine. There's so many things you could do. It's just, but I do think he will show up. You can't have Fantastic Four without Dr. Doom.
Right, exactly.
So even though Galactus may not even be the big bad, it may be Dr. Doom, and it's just they don't want to give away everything in the trailers.
So, yeah. Do you think that he's going to be like a good fit for Dr. Doom? Do you think he's going to play a good Doom? Because I mean, I feel like he nailed the Tony Stark, and it's going to be kind of hard to separate Tony from Victor Von Doom.
So, I've watched him, of course, a little bit older than you, but I've seen RDJ for years, even before the drugs and the rest and everything else.
Right.
But he is Tony Stark.
Yeah.
He's fast talking. He's just everything. So you said, if they go with the storyline of this is the version of Tony Stark here, he's had the same parents when they were killed. He was adopted or what?
Right. Yeah.
Kids, maybe he was younger when he was killed this time or whatever.
Right, yeah.
And raised in Latvia or whatever. And that's just how he became. Then I think it'd be perfect. I do worry though, just because the distinction of I mean, I don't know. Kirk Lazarus was a totally different character for RDJ from Tropic Thunder. Yeah. So, he wasn't the same cadence, so he could pull it off.
I think that's going to play in his favor with everybody seeing him, seeing him Tony Stark as Dr. Doom. I think, he's going to be able to, Tony wouldn't do this or something like that. Well, he's like, I'm not Tony. I'm, something like that. And then do something so drastic that it shocks you. Like, oh shit, he's actually Doom.
Well, and to me, that's what he's got to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe not. I don't know. I think to do it in Fantastic Four, but
kill somebody. You think
he's got to?
Yeah.
You got to just have that moment. You're like, oh shit, he's here. This, This is totally different than anything we have, and I think that's what you need to do is just have that oh shit moment.
That's probably why they got so many of the old cast members or whatever. They're probably going to be sacrificed, man.
Just fodder. I can slaughter through these people, and these names that you're like, oh, I can't believe.
Right? Yeah. So it's kind of like what Deadpool did with 3 when he brought back all these old characters. He's kind of giving them their send off, their closure that they wanted and all that stuff. So it's kind of like what they're going to do is use Victor Von Doom to kill off these other people to give them their closure. You know what I mean? So I think I wonder if that's really what's going to happen. I mean, that'd be
it makes sense. Yeah. It gives a reason why all these universes are coming together.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, it's going to be like such a huge threat that all these people are just going to try to. But I wonder if they're gonna. I wonder what they're going to do with Channing Tatum because he saw his chair there.
Well, that's what's amazing. Is like you saw all the names they added.
Yeah.
What wasn't there? Right. Because all of them have had that moment. Like you didn't expect Chris Evans to show up in Deadpool. Yeah. Like, what's going to be that moment in that movie? Like, holy crap! All the people you announced,
kept going, dude. I'm like, because I'm thinking, like, I don't even know where my mind was going at first, but then it just kept going, and I'm like, this name, that name. I'm like, oh shit, like, which it was so cool.
I've heard, and I thought it was going to be for Doomsday, but hell, it could be for the Secret Wars.
Could
talking about pulling from multiverses, but I heard you're going to have a villain Chris Evans next time.
A villain Chris Evans.
He's going to reprise his role as Captain America, but instead of Captain America, he's going to be Captain Hydra.
Oh, right, because we never got that, right?
Right. So, and then Scarlett Johansson's supposed to come back as a villain.
Oh, damn.
So, like, all these people that are going to be joining Doctor Doom's side. So it's just like so many possibilities.
Damn. So it's gonna he's gonna have his own version of all the heroes, and they're probably gonna
he's pulling, which would make even more sense with you were saying about that Tony Stark version. Because I was like, oh, you got your Captain America. I'm gonna go pull every evil version of us that I can find, just throw in your face.
And that's gonna fulfill so many fan services right there.
You could do it all, right? Even if a throwaway moment of oh shit, he's wearing the Hydra outfit, or
right, yeah,
or even they did it a little bit with Doctor Strange by putting John Krasinski in as
which I thought he was
Mr. Fantastic, which I still think he should. I still think him and Emily Blunt should have been cast as. But that's another story.
That would have been. I mean, in that universe, I'm sure they were. You know what I mean? Right. I bet she was his Sue Storm, but
yeah. Well, then you could go ahead and do the ultimate Iron Man and have that be Tom Cruise, even just for a cameo. That
would be cool, man.
The throwaway moments are just so many possibilities.
There's somebody I was watching. I was just thinking, I'm like, I think he would have been a good, not Tom Cruise, but Tony Stark as well. God, he was kind of who was it? Hopefully, if I forget about it right now, then maybe it'll pop back up. But it was somebody who I thought that probably would have been a good Iron Man. But Tony Stark, really, because he just kind of had those, those. Oh, was it Robert Lowe? I feel like he would have been a good.
Rob.
Rob Lowe. Yeah, I feel like he would have been a good Tony Stark. So, do you think Doomsday would follow the same 2-part narrative as Endgame and Infinity War?
Yeah, and I think that's what they're going to do with tying it in, because
Secret Wars.
If they do Doomsday straight into Secret Wars, that would be why it's Infinity War and then Endgame. It's I carry on the same story, but just changing the last name of it.
Right. Because I did hear that Tobey Maguire is going to be in a Secret Wars or whatever. So I think that's probably what they're doing.
And if I'm them, casting wise and everything else, if I'm Marvel, I make Secret Wars a 2-parter.
Yeah,
I release a May July or May August,
right?
And just make it a 2-parter, maybe 5 total hours worth of movie, so you don't have to rush anything.
That would be cool.
But we ain't had anything like that since the Harry Potter movies and stuff. Where they split the finale into 2, especially if this is going to be the end of the Avengers era, the end of the Tony Starks, the RDJs and Chris Evans and all this OG cast. You can give them a good 2-part send off.
Yeah, exactly.
Because now, from what I hear in phase 7 or whatever number they're going to now,
I have trouble trying to figure out what phase we're in.
But I think the next thing they roll into, if I'm them, I would too, is rolling just straight into the X-Men saga.
Ooh, yeah.
Avengers are good. We've had them. They're over, but now look at all these new stories we can roll.
Right, yeah. Because I feel like they're focusing on the X-Men. They're kind of throwing in little hints and nuance and nudges, referencing the X-Men. Yeah. So I feel like that's kind of the direction that they're going. You know what I mean? So
So if you roll straight into an X-Men saga, then you can just have their stories build up, whether it's against Mr. Sinister or
Oh
and
my
then,
gosh!
And then your Avengers movie
action
can turn into X-Men movies. You can lead it to a Dark Phoenix side where it just like leads up to this huge movie.
I mean, X-Men. It's just honestly its own like universe, really.
Right.
You know what I mean?
To me, that's like two separate. Just spin it and go with it.
Yeah.
You can still have people pop up here and there, but like, just roll with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like because there's so many mutants, there's so many different villains, and so many different like arcs that they've gone through. Which is like, I mean, I think it'd be, I mean, it's smart to go with that. To be honest.
And if they do not find a way to, Quicksilver's dead. I still think they should bring him back, but especially since Kraven bombed and just like help a brother out. But like to have that Scarlet Witch Quicksilver moment with Ian McKellen where it's like, Dad, like I thought you were dead, and just carry on. It's like, oh, it really is Magneto as their dad,
right? Yeah, that would be
because they hinted at it in the X-Men series, but it was always as a joke,
right.
But like, just make it serious. Ian McKellen's well old enough to be their dad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it would make sense that like they thought their dad was killed in an explosion. But like he controls magnetic waves. Like,
Which, who's the guy that plays Magneto, like the younger version? Like
I can remember Professor X, but I cannot remember. Oh, Michael Fassbender.
Man, he's a great Magneto. Oh, he is a great Magneto.
I still think those two need to carry on. Like I'm good with everybody else getting replaced, but like those two, they were good.
He really like when he crushed that train. You know what I mean? It just
best show of his power in any iteration I've ever seen.
That's not even like a flex for him for real like that. You know what I mean? Because I mean, he's an Omega level mutant, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
See, and that's something right there. Just to be able to show that those words, those phrases, to be able to start small with an X-Men to lead to like, oh, this villain that we're coming up against is Omega level. And it's like figuring out what that is for each.
That's what they should tap into that stuff, the Omega levels. You know what I mean? Like, because they never really mentioned that. Only the time they mentioned that was in X-Men 97, whenever Storm, whenever Omega level mutant threat or whatever that Sentinel said, which was like, that was a really cool moment, you know?
Well, and that's what I was telling Stacy. I said, I would love for them to, Stacy knocked me a little bit because she actually likes Black Panther, so Shuri being Black Panther now. I'm not knocking it. I'm just not. My Black Panther is married to Storm. And that's what I want to see. And I want to see that as a continuation because from what I heard, Ryan Coogler still wants to do a part 3.
Oh yeah, that'd be
so
cool.
So my thing is Michael B. Jordan pulling from another universe as Black Panther.
Right. Yeah.
And let him marry a Storm or Aurora Monroe or whatever. And that's the carry on for future versions right there.
That'd be cool. So in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, was that Black Panther's sister or was that somebody else from Wakanda?
Somebody else.
Okay, because I was thinking it was his sister, but I was like, I know her name is Shuri, but it's just
I think it was somebody.
She had like the beads on her wrist and whatnot.
You never know what's going to happen.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, it's a different universe, so who knows? Right. So that's what left me scratching my head.
In the future, that could be
Right. Yeah. I mean, she might be related. I don't know. She might be the Black Panther. Who knows?
Or did you notice to go back to that? Did you notice the wall? Back when he sent off the email when Harry Osborn sent out the email for his new engineering program.
I want to say
names on the wall.
What was the names?
Man, it was like a good maybe 20 names, but it was just all these people that he's emailing to join the web, and most of them are just like maybe a handful of throwaway names, but other ones are just like subtle hints to like there was a Spider Woman in there.
Ooh.
There was a lot of people that used to work with Ant-Man with the Pym, because there was something called like Pym Girls or something like that. And they had their own little like group. Okay. So there's a lot of names on there. Of course, like Amadeus Cho, and if he ends up getting, because they dealt with gamma rays.
Becomes a Hulk, right?
Yeah, they dealt with gamma rays a little bit. Like if he could have become infected or something, and then
it's like
he hawks out.
They're setting up their own like thing with that universe, which is it's like god dang man, it's like I can't wait.
And it's. As long as they just stay true, man. That's the biggest thing. It's not, you don't have to stay true to comics. You don't even have to stay true to your own universe. Just stay true to what you're doing. Just building that fandom and building that like world for yourself even.
Oh yeah. Like I feel like I need to go back and just watch it just to like see all the Easter eggs. Because the first time around, I was just watching it just to watch it, and I would notice Easter eggs here and there, but like I want to like just go back and just see if I can just spot this, spot that. You know what I mean? Because
being able to absorb it a little bit more. And because
I mean, like if it was like fucking Easter, man, like it'd be a field day for.
It was just like fastest like 30-minute shows too.
Yeah.
There was no stopping.
Right, you didn't want it to end. I did not want it to end, man. I'm trying to remember something about it that like I wanted to make a point to say. But that show, which I hate when I do this, I go blank on what I had it for a second, but then it went on its own little way again. So, but yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do is just go back and rewatch that show because I don't know. It's probably one of my favorite shows that I've seen in a while. Like it kind of like, I don't know. It's good as like the X-Men 97 in its own way. You know what I mean?
Well, it was like me, like, things I love, I'm still good with animation wise. Like Dragon Ball, I can pick up anytime.
Yeah.
Old school X-Men, old school Spider-Man. But there's a lot of things that they'll go animation and I'm like, I'll maybe check it out. But this just drew me right in. Right. It was just like I was a kid again.
Yeah. I love the animation. Yeah.
The style and everything else. Mm-hmm. It just drew me right back in. And I had,
like I think I was talking to somebody at work about it and he said that like he's heard that some people had issues with the animation. I was like, it looks like it's drawn right out of the comic books, or as a comic, bright colors,
good narration with it. It's not like jumping all like even the split screen like boxes straight out of a comic.
Exactly. And like anybody who had black hair, like the sunlight or any light hitting the black hair, it came off as blue, which is really cool. Because at first I was like, why is this braids blue? You know what I mean?
Right.
But then like it registered like, oh, that's just like how like they depicted the, black hair reflecting sunlight. You know what I mean?
It made it a bluish color.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So it was just like, oh, okay. Looks like
it's straight to cell animation.
Right. Yeah. That's its own level of thing, which is like, damn, there's like there's this like thought into like detail and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It really blows me away. And that's one of the reasons why I love comics, because I don't know, man. There's so many things that just shows us why we love these characters. And, I just appreciate the fact that people love it just as much as we do to create these things. And
the story building in the world.
Right.
And, you can, and even especially with like a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man or even the X-Men or whatever, like, you have a young child at home and, like to be able to bring it real world problems to you, right? Like you were saying when we talk about Lonnie and Tombstone, like it's a real life thing gangs are real, and people are faced with like getting my baby brother out of the gang and like different things like you can bring to a young audience and a mature audience. Like you could teach them without you don't have to go watch Daredevil for them to see real life. You could take it to a cartoon and have a real conversation about it.
Like, this is why gangs are bad, this, that, or the other.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And it ties it in a way that's not too mature for a child.
Right.
At the same time,
Yeah, and it is like, it's like it danced that like nice fine line of like, being adult enough for people like you and I, and like, I guess censored enough for kids to be able to watch and still each generation, I guess, essentially both take away the same, whatever from that show, which is like, I don't know, man, that's why I would love to be in the business and just figure that stuff out, Well,
and that's what's crazy about now that Marvel's done it, like which no one stepped up to the version of like superheroes that the boys have, where it's it's borderline like,
if they were real, they'd probably be jerks like
like, even television wise, it pushes the boundaries of what R is. Right, like it pushes that not rated version. So I'm not going there, but like even within the Marvel verse, you got Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, kids can watch. We can all sit down, we can have a great time, we can watch Daredevil. You can see him jump in a prison scene and double drop kick a dude's knee until it snaps. Like
which is cool. Like you can if you want
both sides of the spectrum for a fan.
If you want to see the gore and stuff like that, you can. If you want to see the more grit, has Daredevil always been that gritty in comics? I mean, wow,
it's just a real like he's a blind fighter. His dad was a pit fighter. Like
I've always I don't know why, because I guess maybe like growing up as a kid, seeing Daredevil in like the 90s,
Spider-Man.
Yeah, like he just always seemed like, he wasn't like as brutal of a character as like he is in the shows or the comics or whatever. I guess at that time I didn't read comics, which I still really don't. But my knowledge of each character was from what I seen from those like animated series. And the comics that I did read about Spider-Man is like another like kind of multiversal thing. Like there's like this arachnid, this like godlike arachnid that's like infected all the different like Spider-Man and Spider-Women. And so they got to figure out who is this godlike arachnid and try to save each person before they're affected by this, because they start to turn into a spider themselves as well.
I remember, actually, I think they did something on the cartoon version with that too.
I think
at
so.
one point.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That was around the Madam Web series.
Right. Yeah. But in that spider, in that comic book, you follow the Peter that was working with Norman as well. Like he made Peter's suit, which is what I like saw when I saw Peter working with Norman for him working, making all his suits and stuff. I was like, oh shit, that's like that. It was cool.
It brought you right back to it.
Yeah. And like in that comic, it was kind of like a cross between his suit was spandex and like armor, and like his spider logo was like green. It glowed green, because of like Norman's green, ties to the Green Goblin and whatnot. So it was cool, and now I feel like that was I love that it was just like it's like a melting pot of like different Spider-Man iterations. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean comic books in general just melt everything together so well. I mean. There's versions out there where the same toxic waste that blinded the Daredevil and gave him his heightened senses leaks off into the sewer and creates
the turtles.
Yeah,
yeah.
So it's like
I've heard that.
There's always a version of something out there that it's just like.
I mean, it could be. You know what I'm saying? Like it really could be. Like in some universe, and that's like what's cool about the multiverse. Is some universes happen. Like you think about it, it's freaking happened. You know what I mean? So that's what's cool about that. And I'm a big Turtles fan. Like I was talking to Nick in the group chat yesterday actually, and he told me that like not Modern Warfare, but Black Ops 6 has some turtle skins, and I was like, hold on. So I had to hop on there and buy Leo and Mikey's skins, man.
Man, that's frustrating. I got Splinter. I grinded for Splinter, but I just couldn't drop the money for the Turtles. I did get all their weapons though. I went ahead and grinded for all the weapons.
I didn't get Raphael or Donnie. But I do like with the weapons that like whenever you kill somebody, it says like Cowabunga.
It's like cool. Each one of them has their own like end match celebration too. So it's it's awesome. Like
I was just like, you know what, as a fan, I'm gonna just go ahead and get it, because I mean that's one of the few Call of Duties that I actually like gravitate back towards. You know what I mean? Because I mean the other ones, they're fun. But this one, I actually feel like it's just something about it that just feels like, it just feels better, like the gameplay.
I haven't picked one up consistently since like Black Ops 3.
Okay.
Maybe a little Modern Warfare 2 when they did the remaster a couple years ago. But like, I pick this up once a day, hit my dailies, and just play around a little, at least almost every day. Just because I mean, I just keep gravitating of like, oh, I've got an hour to kill, and it's just right back to it.
Her brother, my brother-in-law, he actually was a data analyst for like the modern Black Ops 6 and all that stuff.
Nice.
Well, Black Ops 6. I think he said because he had like a year contract or something like that, so he worked with them for a year, but like his contract ended like right before Black Ops 6 came out,
right?
And so like I don't know if he asked about it or the woman said that they were going to put his name in the credits because since he worked on
pre-testing on everything up
right there. So she said it only made sense, and I was telling him how it felt different, and he told me it's because of like they pretty much got down the sliding mechanics. They worked it out like to where it feels good in this game.
It feels natural. It's like the running, everything just feels more. I really enjoy this one now. I mean,
I do too. I really do.
But and of course I also like the I mean totally off subject where we were, but just like the matchmake skill-based match play, stuff like that. So it keeps you within your group.
Right, yeah.
You know, you could pick it up any day and you don't feel overpowered by somebody that sit there and spent $1,000 on all the skins.
Right, yeah.
You can just pick up because it's your group.
Yeah, and like the last thing I want to do when I get off work after having a hard day, pick up the sticks, and then somebody is just like picking you off as soon as you spawn. And it's just like it takes you out of it. You know what I mean?
Which, like my son, he plays with his fiance and stuff, and they picked it up recently. And she's not, you know, she's not a gamer. Right. They add her to the group, which adds to her skill base. So they get on there and drop nukes like every match. And I'm like, dude, that's just like, let me in one game with her, please. Like, because they're going in with people with like 0.5 KD and just having a yeah,
I'm still casual myself. Like, but
same here.
But I still I can still get some kills though. But so anything else you want? Anything else Marvel that you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, you know, like, I'm just excited for the future.
Yeah,
there's so many opportunities. Right. And with that being said, like, you know, I watch a bunch of different things, whether it be, you know, just anything and everything on TV.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, like I just finished Reacher last week when the finale hit, and
I started getting into Reacher. I gotta finish it, and I do like it, man.
It's a good series. It's definitely beats the Tom Cruise version.
Yeah.
But like that leads me to a question of like, as a fan, do you prefer the 2.5 hour set down movie version or the 8 hour streaming series version?
Ooh, I don't know. Ooh, that's a good question. I want to say the movie version because with me, you know, we worked at the movie theaters for so long. And I just had like this special attachment for the movie theaters, and I knew what it meant for a big movie to come out, you know, and a movie like that would come out would be like a blockbuster. And that was always like a big special thing, like getting to go see the movie, all seeing it together, and just being able to talk about it after the movie's over with, you know, just it's a special event for me. So I feel like that's why I would want to go see it in a movie theaters versus sitting at home and watching it, which is one of the questions I did have originally. It's like, do you think like the streaming services is like veering people away from the theaters, basically?
I think it is, and I hate it.
I think so too. Yeah, I agree.
I'm frustrated that we don't have like an AMC or a bigger theater on this.
Right. Yeah.
The river, because like when I did my training down in Georgia for my job, like that was one of my enjoyments on the weekend is I would go I worked right out of Atlanta, and I would go in and go because they had 4D theaters and they had all these different options to see movies. And like, you know, I'm watching Super Mario Brothers by myself in a 4D theater just because the cart scene, the seats are moving all around. And, you know, and then I remember we went down to Orlando and I grabbed one in one of the, actually, Mario Kart, I watched the one where the screens wrap around.
Oh, shit.
And then when I was down in Florida, I remember it was right when not Ragnarok, but Love and Thunder came out for Thor.
All right.
And we went and seen it in a 4D where you're jumping in the chair and you got mist spraying you in the face and like, dude, that's a moment. Like grab everybody together and just have an experience, popcorn, whatever. Yeah, like I don't get that.
I can have my daughter Jolie spray me with a spray bottle.
Right. Like, I mean, I'm going to get sprayed. There's going to be the dogs peeing on me or something while I'm watching a series, but it's not the moment of like just taking the fam or even like, I'm not even gonna lie. A lot of times it don't even involve the family. It's about me.
Oh yeah.
It's like I want to go see this. I want the loud noises. I want the 100-foot screen. I need all of that.
And I love the experience of being in a theater with so many, like say a big blockbuster like that. Like when I went to go see what's that, Far From Home.
Yeah.
And then it was like maybe like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock the showing. And I went in there and when I walked into the theater, I'm like, oh shit, there's so many people in here. And like you get that experience of everybody's reactions to like different moments in the theater or in a movie. And it's just such a special experience, man.
I'm especially with blockbusters, man. I'm an opening weekend guy.
I
need to see it with people that just are seeing it for the first time.
Right. Yeah.
And I want to be part of that. I want to be that experience where the gasp and the cheers.
Yeah.
And
that's how it was for Transformers for me, man. Like I got to see it like my brother, he worked at the theaters before I did. And so like they would get the movies like maybe sometimes a week in advance.
Right.
So that because back then it was in film and they had to put it all together because say Transformers with our longer movies, they came in like canisters. And sometimes if it was a big movie, it'd be like a 3 canister. But sometimes the movies would be in like 1 or 2 if it was a short movie. But like they would have to put all the film together and they would show it or they would screen it just to make sure everything was
right. So as a family and as an employee, you get that.
Exactly. Yeah. And so he came home one day. It's like maybe 3-4 days before it even came out. I'm like, doing whatever I'm doing. And he's like, hey man, you want to see Transformers? And I'm waiting because I want to see it with the, the rest of the audience so we can have that experience. Right. I'm just like caught in this dilemma, like, oh shit, do I see it now or do I, but I ended up doing both. But when I went to go see it like that night, man, that's honestly that's something I'll always remember, dude. That's something I'll always remember. And I do remember like when I did finally get to see it with everybody in theaters, like, it was just when Optimus Prime, like he came rolling through the city and he transformed after seeing Megatron for the first time. And I remember everybody was like, oh shit, it was just such a big like moment. And I feel like you just don't get that stuff at home when it comes to the streaming services. There's, moments where we, figure out like the Easter eggs. And like I said, whenever you figured out the spider came through the portal that, with Peter and all that stuff.
Could you imagine that at the end of a movie with the crowd and that oh shit moment that like this is a time loop episode.
Right. Yeah. Like I like that, like at home, the most I did was like, not the most, but I paused it and I had to like sit there and I really thought about like the whole event for a moment. I had it on pause for like 5 minutes for me to like figure all that shit out and like, oh shit, this is crazy. And so then I like, continue playing it and that you just don't get that stuff and, just at home.
Well, and that's what,
like you would in the theaters.
I have a lot of conversations with my wife about things like that because I'm a live event person.
Right. Yeah.
It ain't about the view. Right. It's about the environment. Like going to a concert. Yeah. Like I can sit home with headphones on and just really enjoy the music and feel the music. And that's my time with the music.
Right.
Going to a concert with everybody and we're all feeling it. And we're all, experiencing it. And
their energy just like, just vibing together. That's a whole nother level, man. That's a whole different experience. You pay for your tickets, but still it's almost like something that experience isn't something that money can buy. You know what I mean?
Like even the most mediocre performance,
you on, girl, you
can have a moment with. Mm-hmm. I remember it's been a couple years ago. I went to Bourbon and Beyond, and it was cool. I got VIP seats, which were if you ever plan on going even for a day, try to get those VIPs because it was an experience like none other. We were like 2 people from the stage for Bruno Mars when he went up.
Nice.
You had Babyface. We were like,
oh shit,
we were the only ones there for Well, not the only ones, but it was a smaller group. We got Babyface's whole like he went through his own everything he wrote.
Yeah, like because Babyface, like he's like back when like R&B was like. Prominent back in like the 90s, man, which R&B is like, I hate to say it, like dead essentially.
Yeah, no, it's either rap or pop. It's like there's nothing in between anymore.
And it's unfortunate that many people or that few people showed up for Babyface,
Well, no, and that's what was great is like as a fan, I love Babyface, Stevie Wonder, all that.
Right, yeah.
But is seeing fans realize, oh, I didn't know this song, but he wrote this. And when he went down the list of songs he wrote, it's like all of a sudden the crowd just started like commencing.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many Bruno Mars has written so many songs for so many artists. You know what I mean?
But even with Bruno, well, I can't say Bruno Mars wasn't the best performance because it was the best performance of the night. Yeah, John Baptiste had probably the second best performance. It was like hands down one of my favorite performances I've ever seen live.
John Baptiste. I'm not familiar with that person.
Couldn't have told you who he was either. Still don't like. I've heard one of his songs through that day. I was like, oh, I know this song, but other than that, it was nothing. But he went through the crowd. He had like a saxophone, piano, like combo thing. He like got off the stage and just walked through with all of us and just singing and just vibing and having a moment. And then everybody just had a moment with him, and it was just like like cool. Even I don't know who this guy is. I don't care, but it was just the performance itself. It's like, it's awesome.
He made you feel included, man.
Exactly. That was like, cool. You don't get that at home.
Yeah, no, not at all, man.
Because I've tried. I tried listening to his music at home, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, it's not the same. That's
and that's that movie theater thing. That's what,
Yeah. I mean, it's cool because, like, you can break it up into, like, smaller bits, like you said, like on a 8-part series or whatever, but it's just something about that. And that fears me that movies aren't going to be, sorry, dude.
No, she's
she's actually like a sweetheart. She's not even a year old yet, man. But I'm fearful that, like, the movie experience is, dwindling, sooner rather than later.
I wish there was a way to combine.
Yeah.
Because I really enjoyed the storytelling the storytelling aspects to being able to stretch it out.
Right. Yeah.
2.5 hours, sometimes too long to sit there and watch. I can do it. Kids can't. I can't take my 8-year-old to watch. She ain't gonna sit there 2.5 hours of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Hour-long bits, maybe even an hour and a half. Being able to stretch that 8 episodes arc, but throw that in the theater.
Yeah.
Give me 1 week releases.
I mean,
over the next, from June through the end of July, we're going to be releasing, Doomsday, and it's going to be every week get an episode, and that's all the theaters are playing it. And you could roll them out hour after hour.
Didn't they do like a Marvel, like, I was like a countdown where it's like they were playing like different Marvel movies from like the first Iron Man up until like Endgame or something like that, which is like, that seemed, the people who got to do that, that's something that you couldn't take away from them.
No,
that's so cool.
I thought about it. I did. It was like 27 hours worth of movies leading up to it, and I was like,
whole day.
I think I can do it.
A whole day.
But it's like, do I want to do it? It's like, it's an experience.
Because you get to relive those movies, re-see those movies in theater again. I remember, I think for the most part, I think I really do remember seeing each movie in theaters, like over all the different Marvel movies. I really think I remember seeing each one of them in theaters. We was actually talking about this the other day, and I don't think the only one I've missed, and I still haven't seen it, is the Marvels. The 3 female version. I haven't seen that one, and I haven't seen the Dark World with Thor. I haven't seen. I haven't seen that one. But every one I've seen, I saw it in the theater first. Right, yeah, same. I think, honestly, one of my favorite movies that I've seen in theaters, outside of like the first Avengers, Infinity War, and all that stuff, was Edward Norton's The Hulk, man. I remember seeing that. Yeah, that was the last fight scene and stuff, man. That was like, I'm just sitting in this seat, just like. Well, and it's almost like, and you hear it a lot, but CGI has actually went down. Yeah, I know. Because you back to that, like, you got, Hulk and the Abomination fighting in the streets, and it's dark, and even like I'm a big fan of like Pacific Rim. Oh yeah, I love that movie. Yeah, and kaiju look amazing. Right. Yeah. And then now you watch a movie and you're like, oh, that's fake. Like at the time, like I could picture those kaiju walking around. I could picture the mechs walking around. And now I don't know if it's like we're trying to go cheaper, but probably. Like, man, give me quantity over quality. Yeah, exactly. Or give me quality over quantity. Yeah, quality over quantity. Yeah, I agree with that, because I mean, especially my Godzilla movies, man. Don't fuck with my Godzilla. Like I need, I need my Godzilla. You know what I mean? I love Godzilla. Which they've held true. They stayed pretty for solid. The most part. Yeah. This last movie, I'm not saying it's bad or anything like that, which I actually liked it. Was that the one where they had Mechagodzilla? Yeah, was the last. Oh yeah, that was Godzilla versus Kong, I guess. And they yeah. That Mechagodzilla was actually on point in my opinion. But I do think that there's been a downgrade when it comes to the CGI, and I'm not sure what it is. If they're trying to save money, because I mean, or maybe it is them trying to save money because they're paying all these actors like these ridiculous amount of money just to, it's unreal. Yeah, because the more they do, the bigger their names become, the more they have to pay them, and it probably takes away from the budget of the movie. Well, and that's kind of what Marvel's done. Marvel's taken like
Robert Downey Jr. was a big actor. He wasn't huge until after Iron Man hit.
He's probably what you like a B-list actor before.
At the time, yeah. Like, I mean, he was coming off his drug. Actually, they didn't want to cast him because of his drug arrest and everything. Yeah. And Favreau fought for him, and it hit, and it was a freaking home run. And, you know, Marvel is counting the money every day for it. But like him and Chris Evans was bouncing from movie to movie. It's like, you knew the name.
Right, yeah.
Scarlett Johansson, like, you knew the name, not necessarily because of anything like...
Now you hear the name.
Highest paid actress and highest paid actors.
Like,
and
I think Robert Downey makes more than all of them, though, right? Yeah, he's like because I mean, I know he started it all, essentially, but I mean, geez, like, I can't imagine this dude's like wallet, bro. Like, could you imagine how much money this dude got?
I can't, like... That amount of money just still blows my mind. Just don't know any of them. Like,
well, yeah, because I mean, it's just like, you know, I get it that they're doing like strenuous, like long hour work and shit like that to be in these movies, but I mean, do they really need to be paid that much?
Exactly.
Like any like athlete, any actor, like, do they? You know, it's like. That's why people are poor and, you know, homeless. You know what I mean? Like, these people, like, that's enough money to go around to feed all these people, you know, or to, you know, hire all these people. Like, you need to, I don't know, man. Like, there needs to be jobs out there that, like, you know, pay handsomely if somebody can go out there. I'm not saying it's easy to act like that, but, I mean, it's just crazy to me that's, like, the payroll for actors.
Yeah, that's what it is. So, like, I don't remember the exact number, but I came up with this the other day just to prove it to a point to somebody. It's like Elon Musk is worth like just whatever, like $4 billion.
Mm-hmm.
You could give somebody $4,000 a day since the birth of Christ, and in 2025 till now, or from zero till now, and you still don't have enough money as he does.
That's crazy.
Like, no human on earth needs that much money.
No.
Well, you know, like you said, there's so many things that need to be fixed and helped, and it's like
because I don't want to.
Yeah, it's a whole nother conversation. But
I was say my like tinfoil hat was about to.
Yeah. It's all right. Like,
it's more to me. I feel like the whole entertainment is like a distraction for the most part, because that's what they used to do in like the Roman times with like the what do you call that? Where they would have like the gladiators.
The Colosseum.
The Colosseum. That was a distraction from like the people, like all the people who filled the auditorium or like the Colosseum. Those were the poor people that lived there, and that was a distraction from the lives that they live as poor people. So it's kind of like
entertainment to keep their mouth,
right. And so that's kind of like what it feels like. What's going on with us, and when it comes to like all this entertainment, like, you know, all these actors are being paid handsomely to, you know, entertain us, to keep us distracted. So it's kind of
questions from being asked quick, you know.
Exactly. So I mean, it's a lot of that stuff that's like, you know, pretty much like been passed down from those times to now. Like even like the gladiators, they're UFC fighters now,
right?
You know what I mean? So
there's a version of it throughout history.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't end. So all right. So any more Marvel talk or any comic book talk you want to
man,
mention?
It's whatever. Like, I mean, I do see Marvel. Like I said, I don't know that they've ever went in the wrong direction. A lot of people, you know, a lot of chat back and forth about that, but I think they're definitely headed in the right direction.
Okay, yeah, I think so too.
And I do feel that like direction. DC's finally in good hands too.
Yeah,
I really think James Gunn's going to take it to the places that like
people are, oh man, it makes me so upset when people like complain about something that they don't, like they have only seen literally 2-3 minutes of or pictures of. Like they've seen this Superman trailer and it's already, well, this isn't this, that isn't that. And I'm like, bro, come on, dog. Like at least wait until the movie comes out, watch it, and then be able to like have your opinions about it, man. Right? It's like you're not even giving this movie a fighting chance. You know what I mean?
We was talking about the CGI and stuff like that. First off, a trailer this early in the game, it's not even fully finished.
Right? Yeah.
Like give it. Oh, well, it looks fake. Well, dude, I ain't been outside in a while. It's dark. I'm pretty sure nobody flying.
Right? Yeah.
Like, you can't knock the director and the actors because the CGI wasn't to your standards.
Right.
And at the end of the day, you don't even know what the finished product looks like.
Right, exactly. And my thing is, has James Gunn really led us astray at all? At all?
look, I don't remember any movie of his ever being bad.
Right.
And I'm going all the way back to like Slither.
Oh,
like that was one of my first like horror movies that I was like a horror comedy that I was like, oh, okay. This is what this could be. Like, this is funny. This is hilarious.
Right. Yeah.
Because I grew up on Toxic Avenger. Like, I wasn't supposed to watch it, but I found it. And
okay, cool. Maybe I should go down a James Gunn rabbit hole, man. Yeah, leading up to Superman.
So he worked with Trauma Industries, which was the people behind the Toxic Avenger. They made like Kabuki Quantum Fighter and just the stupidest movies you could ever imagine. But he was in that group that made those.
And didn't he say that like Superman like was his all-time favorite hero?
Yeah, and like he's passionate about all this stuff.
Right.
Like,
so
the second Suicide Squad was awesome. Peacekeeper was awesome. Like,
yeah. So why would he make those projects better than his his babies, which is Superman? Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, and then people instantly was like, "Oh, well, Guy Gardner looks stupid." Bro,
he looked that same in the comic book. Like, yeah. He looked the chili bowl haircut. That's how he fucking looked.
Oh, it's because it's a name you ain't never heard of before.
Right, exactly, because they want Hal Jordan, basically, or John Stewart, which they're coming though.
Yeah, they're shooting the Lantern series right now with both of them.
Yeah. So I mean, oh my god, and it kind of brings me to the people saying that like Sam Wilson is not their Captain America. I don't know if you've heard that, but people are like, he's not my Captain America. I'm like, again, pick up a freaking comic book. He literally
like the Bucky Barnes version. There's the Sam Wilson version. There's the Captain America version. Oh, because Captain America died in this version, which led to the other people.
Right? Yeah. Like, oh my gosh, bro.
Well, it's like it's a mix of the people that ain't never left their mom's basement that are covered with comics that want everything to be 100% perfect, and then the people over here that's never read a comic that wants it to be what they like.
Right. It's like you can't please everybody. I mean, you can't please everybody, and it's just like you got to understand. It's just like if you made a movie, you would take liberties yourself. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You put your stamp on it. You put your own thing.
Yeah. It's not going to be a 1-to-1. If I was to make a Transformers movie, it's not going to be anything like Michael Bay. It's not going to be anything like the comic books or Stephen Caple Jr. or anybody who's ever directed any Transformers or anything like that. Like it's going to be my own.
Their vision of what's a great Transformer.
Exactly.
Or a great
man. That's how you
Turtles or a great anything.
Yeah, that's all you got to understand. Like, and then I understand like it might not all be good, and that's fine. But at least give it a fighting chance, or wait until it comes out in order to give it a fighting chance. You know what I mean? So I just that's what I don't understand. I don't know.
It's just give it a chance.
Right. Yeah.
The end. That's all you have to do.
When does it come out? Is it this summer or?
Yeah, I think it's this summer.
Okay. Cool.
And speaking of that, that's where I was making sure that I get the name right, because I knew I did, but it was one of those I want to say it right. But I've heard they're looking to make a Last Ronin movie too.
Yeah, that in the game as well.
The game is going to be definitely coming.
It's going to be like a God of War style type, and which is going to be
just
cool.
Yeah,
which I appreciate that, because the Turtles have always, yes, one might have lost an eye, one might have lost an arm, or, Donatello got his shell cracked by, Bebop and Rocksteady, and you thought he was dead for a little bit, but, none of them really died, and so, like,
and kill him. That darker turn of just, like, life happens.
And, and for it to be Michelangelo to be the last Ronin was, like, unexpected. Everybody probably thought
serious one, the one that you really wouldn't think could carry on the legacy by himself.
Which Splinter has actually said that, like, if Michelangelo would take things more seriously, like, he would probably be like the most formidable turtle.
Well,
like,
he's the Gohan of the group,
right? Yeah.
So much power and potential, but just don't want to do it.
That's why he gave Mikey the nunchucks, because like his mind is always all over the place. And like the wield of nunchucks, you have to have extreme focus. You know what I mean? So it's just like Mikey is actually like the GOAT, man. Like he's because he's actually like the fastest as well, like the most agile. Like he's the one who can be doing all the, like they can all flip and shit like that.
Right, but he does it all while like
like it's with ease. Like he's kind of it'd be like how Peter Parker or Spider-Man, like how he's all over the place and he's like taunting everybody. That could be like Mikey, you know what I mean? Essentially, when it comes to just fighting. You know what I mean? So
because his mind can focus on the wisecracks while also focusing on the flips and the nunchucks and where he's all of it.
It's kind of like in the first movie, whenever like they were in the house and he stepped up. And like he was battling like the foot ninja with like they would have like the nunchuck battle going back and forth. Like that was it was such a great moment in the movie.
That's another thing I need more live action turtle movies.
I know.
I like the first ones.
I loved it.
Wasn't a big fan of the Back in Time in Japan one.
No. I don't even bother with that one. The second one it disappoints me only because like I don't know if you've noticed, but they don't use their weapons in it because the parents who took their kids to see the first one, they complained that it was too violent with them using their weapons. So they made sure that the turtles in the second, but I mean, it spawned Go Ninja Go by Vanilla Ice,
which the classic, but it is. But and they need that. I need that. In my life. I need a.
That's what played on the freaking like Call of Duty trailer for the turtles. I was like, hell yeah,
that trailer.
That's my shit.
I was sitting there and it just happened to come across Twitter, and I was like, sent it straight to the TV, and I'm like, I gotta watch this now.
Yeah. Like that. Honestly, that is like one of my. I think it's probably one of my top 3 movies. Like the first Turtles, the 1990s.
Still to this day. I can watch it anytime it's on.
It still hits.
Never disappoint.
Right. Yeah. That's my shit because I got the Turtles over there. I got all 4 right there, and I got the Last Ronin up there. But that's my shit, man. Like I Yeah, oh yeah.
Go all day on all of it. Like that's just, like all these properties is just, and it's keep it going.
Yeah, just they keep do. It going. Yeah. I really wouldn't be able to imagine like seeing The Last Ronin in theaters, man, because that would like hit so hard for a lot of people. Golly, man. And like each person kind of like died like I guess how you thought they honestly not how you thought they would. He died how you thought he would because he just went all out. Just
like
he
one versus 1,000 type maneuver. Like
exactly.
You already know he's gonna win, but he's not quitting.
He I think he knew that too. Like he just didn't give a like that's goddamn that's Raph, bro. He did not give a fuck. And like Karai actually survived. She killed him by stabbing him through the neck or the head really from the chin up through his skull with the sai, and because they fell into the river and he just continued to sink down because that's hard. That's hard, man. Oh shit, man. I seen that I don't know if you know much about like Mortal Kombat, but they got their Mortal Kombat 2 movie coming out later this year. But the trailer is supposed to release this summer, which I've been waiting for this movie since like 2021.
Yeah, the first one it beat my expectations.
Same.
I like the OG ones. They were okay. Yeah. I mean, were they like the game? No.
Right, yeah.
But I like the characters coming to life. That's all I cared about at the time. The online series with Michael Jai White as Jax and all that top notch. Like it was better than the movies were.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of actually expecting the movies to not live up to that.
Right, yeah.
And then, you start off with Scorpion before he's Scorpion. Like as soon as the movie starts, you're like, oh, that's why he throws that out of his hand. Instantly like brought everything together. And it was, I cannot wait.
But my only thing was like I guess I could see the Arcana making sense for people how they them having power to a degree, but Jax it just didn't make sense to me. Like how like he got the mechanical arms, but they weren't like they were like kind of like I don't know little baby arms at first, and he had like a whole bunch of like self-doubt and stuff like that and loathing and whatnot. But then all of a sudden when he like overcame his, insecurities and shit like that, then that's when his arms like materialized, which that just doesn't make sense to me.
Right. No.
Like to me, I think you should have given him those like arms that fully materialize at first, but like him not being able to, I guess maybe his confidence being shot. You know what I mean? He got his arms, shattered off, all that shit. You know what I mean? He's used to like, coming out on top at all times, right? And so I think really, to me, what would have been a good spin on it is that like he has always been a powerhouse. He's always been strong. Maybe not like superhuman level, but like
peak human.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how he rose the ranks and stuff like that. And then when Sub-Zero shattered his arms, that's what like broke his confidence.
Yeah, because like there's something I can't just beat into the ground.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because he's, like I said, he's always had those ground pounds. He's always been that powerhouse. And so that, to me, that's, if I wrote the Mortal Kombat movie for Jax, that's what I would have like wrote
it more into the psyche of he finally came up to the mysticism, something he can just
exactly
use and brute force his way through.
Right. Yeah. Shoot, beat, whatever. You know what I mean? And so I mean, because Sub-Zero broke him, know what I mean?
Literally,
yeah. So I mean that just what made sense to me. But towards the end, it was cool. They did a lot of fan service, which was cool, but it was still kind of like lacking that that essence that Mortal Kombat is in a sense. But from what I understand, Ed Boon, like I think he's the CEO of NetherRealm. He's given his stamp of approval for this movie. You know what I mean? And so much so that they've already released sneak peeks of a few characters like Shao Kahn, Johnny Cage, Katana, a few other characters.
I've seen a few of them, yeah.
And they're taking those skins and putting them in the game.
Oh, nice.
Right, yeah. So like,
I love to be able to tie in because that just makes it more of a monster.
So like, to me, that's like the ultimate stamp of approval is that like, okay, I want these skins in the game. So, and like a lot of people are, the fans are just mind's blown, mine included.
Well, you think Carl Urban's going to do a good job?
I think he's going to do a good job. I don't know if you played 11, Mortal Kombat 11, but he reminds me of the Johnny Cage from Mortal Kombat 11.
Okay.
He's an older Johnny. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think he's
not the younger brash Johnny.
Right. Yeah. Because like the younger Johnny, he's I think he's at the peak of his career, like a movie star actor and whatnot. But like the older Johnny is washed up and whatnot, and he thinks that maybe the Mortal Kombat, he's not taking Mortal Kombat seriously because he hasn't seen like the whole mystical side of it. You know what I mean? Knowing that there's an outworld, knowing that there's like an emperor of outworld who wants to merge the realms by, taking over and taking all the souls of, Earth realm and all that shit. And so he's thinking that he can like revive his movie career by, entering into Mortal Kombat. Then that's when he, gets a, slap in the face like, oh shit, this is real type shit. You know what I mean? So I think that's where
that does fit.
Johnny Cage.
Older. Yeah.
So I think that's the angle that they're going to go with Johnny Cage for this movie, which they said it's going to be a little bit different. But I mean, I'm going in there with an open mind. I usually do when I go into movies. I really go in with the open mind. I don't have like such a high bar, high expectations that like, any, change or any, liberties that have been taken is really going to waver, and like, get online and just become this keyboard warrior just bashing the movie and shit like that.
Right. I'll give it a chance. And you got to see it from everybody's aspect too. Like,
right. Yeah, exactly.
Even like whether movies are no different than a business.
Right. Exactly.
So you got to realize that even the director has somebody to answer to at the end of the day.
Oh yeah.
Like, I've got to do A, B, and C if I even want this to ever hit the, Acme versus Looney Tunes or whatever that's still has never even hit the shelf. The Batwoman movie we had talked about never made the light of day because somebody didn't play ball. Like
that's why they come out with the director's cut, because that's their version of like the movies, but like with the, like you said, with the business aspect of it, like, oh no, we like this but we don't like that, we like this but keep this, remove that, it's like you present them this, but then they just kind of like chop it all up and then hand it back to you and say, all right, put it back to, put it together how I want you to. And then like, then that's what you're supposed to release to the public. And then, public doesn't like it. They rip it to shreds. And then like,
then you do everything you can to get your version released. So that way people know, I'm not a hack. Trust me. I love the comic.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like, the Zack Snyder, whenever was it Zack Snyder to release his version? Snyder Cut.
The Snyder Cut ended up getting released because
the original was like
he left in the middle of it due to a family emergency or something. Maybe can't remember if his son committed suicide or something. I cannot remember, so don't quote me on that one. But then they had Joss Whedon come in and finish it.
Oh, Yeah.
So, and then they say Cyborg, the guy that plays that, and a lot of other people have come out and said that like Whedon took a lot of his own liberties.
Yeah, yeah.
And totally changed the tone and everything else of the movie. And then that's where the Snyderverse came out. It was like, no, look, this is not where the movie was going. It wasn't slapstick boob jokes and stuff like this. So,
man, I think if they would have kept that Flash from the Snyderverse, and actually, that Flash had his own movie rather than the Flash that we got, I think that would have been a good one.
So much potential. It's the easiest character out of all of them.
I swear. Yeah.
Batman's pretty easy. He's a detective, but you can mess it up by trying to go too deep into him.
Right.
Like, you really can.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to be natural and honest with him, it's the easiest character to go with.
Right.
But they always try to overcomplicate it.
Right. Yeah.
Superman, same concept. Alien from Earth. It just, you have to decide what you want to do. You want to go the Smallville route and start early. You want to start already established. You want to go in the future.
Right. Yeah.
The Flash is the easiest one because you can change it on the fly. You can do all of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can give his origin story halfway through a movie that he's already started in because he can just go back in time at any time and show you. Like, there's so many different things you can do. And it's like, and then the speed. You get to go with the CGI and do things that no one's visually seen.
Yeah, man.
And it's like, they do nothing.
That's why I like the earlier iterations of the CW Flash. Not the early iterations, but the early seasons. Like 1, 2, maybe 3. Because the CGI is more prominent there. Yeah. They really showcase like the speed and stuff like that. And I still think Zoom is one of the best villains ever, like.
I read online a lot of times because everybody's hindsight. There's not one person who was watching that series that was like, this is a horrible series when it was in the first 3 seasons. Not one person. Everybody can look back and be like, well, all he did was fight speed villains.
Right, yeah.
What do you want him to do? Every crime would be wrapped up in 5 minutes.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Who said that? Because they were like, why does the Flash only stay in like fight his villains or something like that? Because it would be wrapped up like before it even started. You know what I mean?
Right. Like,
it makes no sense.
He's so like literal speed. He can run faster than time, so he could end the crime before it ever started if you really wanted to do it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Grant Gustin spoke a lot about that. Like, it got to the point of like, we're gonna have to find something else for me to do because I can't be just a creature of the week because I would solve it within 5 minutes. My power has to grow every week because.
Which I will say, Captain Cold or Leonard Snart actually gave him, he wasn't a speedster, he was actually like a well played or well thought out villain for him, and he's actually had to work with them a couple times and whatnot, and he became like part of the Legends of Tomorrow, and I think Captain Cold in the CW universe is actually a well rounded character, to be honest. Because, he has his backstory. He has troubles with his parent or his dad or whatnot.
Right.
And like, he has his sister who also is in the life of crime and whatnot. And so it's just kind of like this whole
fleshed out character.
Right. Yeah. This dynamic that he has is just kind of like, he is kind of like the opposite of the Flash. You know what I mean? Which I guess like he had like parental issues as well as the Flash did. But
yeah, but like, no, but you said like those first few seasons of Flash were just, the
peak, man.
The Reverse Flash reveal in the first season that it was, his mentor the whole time.
Oh, that was just so crazy.
And just rolling through the, and then like you said, into the Zoom arc and just all that. It's just amazing.
It's crazy because they do this whole, they're hesitant about trusting the next villain because that they did that before, but then they do it again, and then
I even like the Savitar storyline.
It was
especially because they teased time remnants the season before,
right? Yeah,
so you got to see what a time remnant was and had a good conversation,
right? Yeah,
what was it? It was it Zoom that killed a time remnant, and that's what?
No, it was. It might. Well, the time remnant was It might have been Zoom that killed him because he created so many, and that Savitar was the one that survived,
right?
And so he was like, "You think that you can just keep making time remnants and, and only for us to die and not have any consequences, so you can go back to your little happy life while we are brought back from the past to be killed?"
But I was thinking like the reason I brought up Zoom was I remember in a previous season they brought up the idea of a time remnant,
right? Because he killed himself,
and so that's how he kept his. So
right.
Or it may have been Reverse Flash because that's always possible too. He pops up in every season
because he uses his own time remnant to like help fool them while he was off in his world.
Well, and that's how he got even when they knew Tom Cavanaugh was
right.
He was faking it. He was in the room with it on time.
Right. Yeah.
But so they teased it, and then to go full circle of like, this is what happens when you have a Barry Allen that you just forgot about,
right?
You didn't care about, and he's got to live this life of all these scars because he can't run around as the Flash because you're the Flash, and it's like
that makes sense. That's a great arc for Savitar. Like, I just like that was a good plot for him to actually want to like, I guess, kill Barry and pretty much kill everybody he loves beforehand, and then him.
It was like he was going through killing all the multiverse speedsters,
right?
Too. Like they always said, always trying to get some more speed. If you truly looked at it, it may have been they thought he was gaining more speed, but if you look into the character itself, he didn't want any other time remnant to ever have to suffer. So I'll kill all speedsters.
Oh,
they say it's still, they all always trying to steal our speed to get faster and faster. No, he was just like, he may have been doing that, but it's also like no other time remnant will ever have to suffer.
Right.
No one can make another one.
Damn, that's crazy. That's crazy, man. Holy shit.
Okay.
That's good story writing. Storytelling.
But then it just slowly kind of went to like,
didn't they go through a strike or something like that, like a writer's strike?
And that happens with all good shows. Like,
right, yeah.
I think Lost hit it. I know Heroes did. Heroes was one of my favorite shows.
Yeah,
and then
same.
Season 3 or chapter 5, whatever it goes, and they take Peter Petrelli's powers away, and all of a sudden it just went downhill.
Right, yeah. God damn. Yeah, I think I watched The Flash a little bit ago, so I think I might go watch it again eventually, just to like, because I remember it was that moment where like he was like fighting King Shark, which that King Shark was cool.
Man, they did a good job at King Shark.
Yeah,
Suicide Squad did, but the live action first one was I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
You could do this on a TV show?
Yeah. When he was like running on water, trying to like evade King Shark, that CGI at that moment was just, oh my God, bro. Like I was glued to the TV because that was just something I'd never seen before.
Like you're doing stuff on TV that I don't see in movies.
Right? Yeah, exactly, man. And somebody made a good point that like the speedster in Eternals actually got it right when it came to.
Dude, she was top notch too.
Like, right? Yeah, that was cool, man. So I appreciate it. Like in Quicksilver in the
little bit he was in,
yeah. The one with
you're talking the X-Men version,
when he saved everybody from the explosion. That was cool. That was a good scene.
Yeah, I forgot about that Quicksilver, which he actually showed up in the WandaVision show, which was kind of a cool tie-in.
Really,
It wasn't him.
Oh, okay.
But it was his character because or the actor, because you knew him from X-Men, so you instantly was like, oh shit, it's Quicksilver, it's Wanda's brother, and
right.
Not to be, but like they were like, oh, they're meshing the two worlds together, and it turned out, just be
he was just like a character.
He was literally just a dude living in the town. But
was that like a hint though?
Yeah, no, it was definitely a hint. There was no like, WandaVision was definitely an underrated show, dude. I could probably go back and watch it again.
Okay, cool.
And I even like the Agatha all along. I just won't tell anybody else that. Everybody on here. I liked it because it tied into the WandaVision.
Okay, so yeah. Right, yeah. Huh.
And it was different.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch. I gotta finish WandaVision. Like it's just, I gotta get past like the old timey I Love Lucy, phase of it.
Once it gets past that, which like you get about 2 episodes in, it starts getting crazy, and that's what makes it even better.
Oh,
because it goes from the I Love Lucy to all of a sudden like an 80s sitcom to all of a sudden back to the I Love Lucy to like present day, and It's because her mind is breaking.
Okay.
She's created this whole world, and that's what you're watching is her vision of perfect life.
Okay.
And then that goes back to Wanda watching TV of I Love Lucy and stuff when she was bombed with her brother. And
oh, shit.
So, like, that's her vision of a family.
Damn. Oh, damn. It's kind of like, you know how, like, when you have a dream, you know, and it's just like, it's tidbits of, like, shit that you've experienced throughout, like, you know, your day, life, whatever. That's what it kind of reminds me of, you know.
That's exactly the way it, like,
yeah.
And then, you know, not to spoil too much because, you know, I know you want to watch it, but like, it literally leaves like the people in the town know they're being held hostage by her. There's nothing they can do because her magic is so strong.
Yeah. So they have to go along with this whole.
They're making like he's making the local liquor store dude actually be the mailman, and like so he's delivering mail to the house every day, knowing that like fucking batshit crazy. There's nothing I can do. Like
I got to go along with this.
It's like, please help me get out of this. Like, she's controlling us.
Damn.
So like and which also leads to why it's so believable in Doctor Strange how she could go evil.
Right. Yeah. Damn. Didn't Sam Raimi direct Doctor Strange 2? Yeah. Because it had that horror element, you know what I mean?
That Evil Dead stuff, yeah.
Which it did actually, like when Patrick Stewart's Professor X got into, was it her mind or something like that?
Yeah, her mind, and it was her trapped inside, like he's trying to get her out.
It's like the Ring style almost, you know, for a minute, you know?
Creepy, dude. There's some moments that were really good, and
that was cool, man. See, that's the thing about comics, man. It's just like you can go anywhere. You know what I mean? So,
and then they took a lot of stuff from the What If animation and like, you know, just out of nowhere hit like Captain Britain or whatever, where it was her as the super soldier and different things that like you weren't expecting.
That was when she
right.
Yeah,
I could do this all day and seconds later over.
Yeah, exactly. Like that. I was not expecting that, man. Like any of them, man. She just ran through them all.
Oh, dude. And like, I got a little problem with her being too OP at that moment, but for the movie, it was okay. Just as a fan, I was just like, dude, you did Mr. Fantastic wrong.
Like,
smartest man in the universe, and he was literally done in 2 seconds.
Right, yeah, because I mean, he would have like predicted all that, though, right?
You know, especially because, which I've heard is going to be in the new Fantastic Four is the Council of Reeds.
Oh,
which is like the council of whatever from Flash, where they had all the what's his face, his mentor, whatever his name is, Wells, the Council of Wells, where all the Wells would talk. Like the council reads all these different multiverse versions of Reed Richards that communicate together, and that's how they're so like stay ahead of the game on everything.
Right, Which I got to give it to Tom Cavanaugh, man. That dude, talk about range, man. To play so many different versions of one character and nail it. Oh, my God.
That's like, I've got a great actor. Let's just utilize that.
Yeah.
Let's throw an accent on him and it sounds natural. And, whatever it may be.
And it was so believable. Like, he can be like one Wells talking to the other Wells, and you will completely believe that both are from different universes.
Yeah.
And it was Universe 2. I wonder if it's like the same universe that like the Batman animated series is from, because it has that like old time feel, you know what I mean? And then it has that like that orange like hue to it or something like that. Which I don't know. I mean, I googled it. I don't think I really got anywhere, but it's just something about that universe.
Well, as a fan, and that's what a lot of this I think is. They may not leave it up to interpretation, but I do, and it's like I can put my world in. It's like that's my version of what's going on in that world.
And actually, like, it kind of made me want to be like in their shoes whenever they first like went to like Universe 2, and they were just kind of like, you know, in all like they were like him and Cisco were like taking pictures like, look, Universe 2.
Yes, very much so.
Like, man, what would that feel like? You know what I mean? Like, God damn, that's it.
There's just it's a great show.
Yeah.
And a great concept, too.
It is, yeah.
And then they did a little bit of it with the Doctor Strange 2, and that's the only time you've ever really, like, dabbled with the multiverse is Doctor Strange 2. And that's when he's like, you know, I have dreams. She's like, well, your dreams are the other multiverse versions of yourself. Like, you're just dreaming about your other actions and other life streams.
That would be
and then,
messed up.
you go to one where Doctor Strange is dead, and he's like, "Whoa, what do you mean I was the villain? Like, you single-handedly defeated Thanos, and then you wanted more power, and we had to put you down." Like,
damn, yeah, and then
and which like, oh,
the Black Bolt was like, "I'm sorry,"
and that kind of even goes to, but that even goes full circle of like when he tells Tony Stark, "There's only one way." Was that selfish of saying there was only one way to do this where I don't die?
Right. Yeah.
And so that's saying that like, oh, there was a way to do it. He just chose to do it the way that was selfish and kept himself alive.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Damn, that's crazy.
Which I always wonder why he couldn't just use the time stone and go back before Star-Lord's fucked it up, because they were still on that world.
Right. Yeah.
All you do is rewind a little bit till before Star-Lord's wigs out, and you all stop him from taking, because the glove was coming off. It was over, and then Star-Lord jumped in because Gamora was dead.
Right. Yeah. God damn. That I remember that just like, fuck, you fucked it up.
Definitely the villain.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
He even makes a joke about it in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is always nice.
Yeah.
He's like, I almost ended the world because I was caring more about my girlfriend than I was myself, or something like that.
Oh shit. That's awesome. So my question is, do you actually believe that there is a multiverse? Or do you think that it's just one universe? And
so growing up, I was very one world type person. It's like, there's no aliens, but as I've gotten older and as I've gotten intelligence, it's a world of possibilities.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, well, even if there's only one universe, just any and everything that's in our universe is, it's you probably can think it, and it's probably existing. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like to think that we're the only like life forms in this universe, when with just like, it's so incomprehensible for me to think about like just how small we are in relative like to like how big just our galaxy really. You know what I mean? And
look around this room. Just think. Could you picture, and I'm just going to the most rudimentary concept of it, because you mentioned primates decorating a room, having PlayStation 5s, watching we have evolved, regardless of religion versus science. We've evolved into
what we are.
This.
Yeah, exactly.
You're reaching millions of people through a podcast.
Right.
There's all these possibilities, and that's just touching the surface. And you can't tell me somewhere in this universe there's not another sustainable version of evolution and life force.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which that's, I don't know. It's just crazy to me. Like, knowing that in my heart, I feel like I know that there is other life forms out there, other civilizations, etc., but that we won't ever get to like encounter that. You know what I mean? And that's right.
That's what I was trying to explain to my son the other day. He's big into just about anything, whatever he's obsessed with that day with, he rolls.
Right.
And we were talking about space, and I was like, look up in the sky, go pick any star. That star's probably not even there.
Oh yeah.
Because the distance it has to travel to get to your eyes at light speed, like that's probably not even there anymore.
Yeah, it's like if the sun went out, it would take 8 seconds for us to realize, because that's like how far
it truly is from where we are.
Yeah, like how far it takes light from the sun to get to the Earth is 8 seconds. You know what I mean? So it would take us 8 seconds to realize that the sun, say if it just completely went out for whatever reason, or and
then multiply that by billions for other stars. It's like we would never, our lifetime, that a star will never disappear.
Right. Yeah. Which I think like what is that star? Betelgeuse. They thought it was, I don't know if they still think so, that it might go supernova eventually, because they said that like it would like expand and then it would like dim.
So it's almost like it was in the process already.
Yeah. So they were just like, it's behaving differently than they realized, or not realized, but like than they felt like a star should. You know what I mean? So, and I think that's sort of like a red supergiant or something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, but you were talking about multiverse and the possibility of it. Like, there's a lot of people that speculate that spirits
are
and the people that it's just two versions of universes having a thin veil that are crossing over.
Yeah, like it's like we're like I guess like how they explain it in the Flash, like they operate on different frequencies. You know what I mean?
Right, and it's just those frequencies getting crossed just enough that you have like a door shutting, and you're just whatever's going on in their world, it just comes over just for a split second.
Right? Yeah, I can believe that honestly, because I do think this is going to sound crazy, but I do think that like we do operate on frequencies or energy. Like as human beings, like we all have like our own like frequency or energy that we put out. Because there's been like it happened today actually, just handfuls of times at this point that I've thought about somebody. And say I haven't seen this person in like a month, I would think about them like, oh, I wonder where so and so is. I don't know why I'm like, I'm thinking about this person all of a sudden, and then like I go around the corner, there they are. You know what I mean? And it happened today because it was a woman that I work with, it's a woman that I work with. I don't know her or speak to her or anything like that, but we end up running to each other all the time at Kroger. But each time I'm like, I got a feeling I want to run into this woman.
Right. You're sensing almost like you said frequency, like you feel her presence.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, and then it's just like, and it happened today.
There's so many times, in recorded incidents of like people knowing a loved one's passed on or whatever. Like it's so connected and tuned into their frequency that you know when something's wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with twins. There's a lot of instances.
That's what I was about to say, actually. Yeah. Because you're connected. It's kind of like it's like I'm gonna say a force or something like that. We're all connected to, or at least you and your loved ones are connected to, like a web almost. Like
I've always wondered, and I'm not big into. I like to stay grounded because one, I'll scare the shit out of myself.
Oh yeah, that's the thing.
But two, like. Stacy has pointed out for years that there's something off about me because I'll wake up with like horrible, like no way you didn't feel it scratches all over my body at night.
Right. Yeah.
And she'll sleep right next to me. She's like, I'm not digging. I'm not nothing else. Like,
oh shit. Damn.
Woke up with them.
Oh shit.
Like I've left scars on my body and everything else. And there's like no evidence of anything happening. They're happening throughout the night. It's like, okay, that's.
Damn, that's crazy.
And it's is it that frequency's crossing? Is it another me and another version or another whatever? And
that's crazy.
And then to me, of course, that all connects universally, whether you're talking about religion or science or whatever. Because like to me, I can connect every myth to religion.
Yeah, like
full circle. Like just because you study the Quran or you study the Bible or even Greek mythology, it's all connected.
Right.
Because you can find similarities in all of it to match them all together if you truly wanted to.
Yeah. And I kind of feel like, kind of like religion is like, laws. You can kind of like connect, laws to religion. Like murder is a sin. Murder is like, stealing is a sin. Stealing is, what do you call that? Illegal. Like all these things that are like in the Bible that are like sins are also like illegal. I
think they're a good barometer for the times.
Right. Yeah.
We were talking about Roman times before, in Greek times, or different times. There's different rules and there's different laws and different ways to go about things.
Right. Yeah.
But
okay. Yeah, I think we got our little tinfoil hat on.
That's all right. That's all right. Yeah. That leads on to the next conversation.
Right. Yeah, exactly. All right. Would you want to do this again? We can we can like just touch up on more comic book stuff.
Touch on more comics. We can get the tinfoil hats out.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Make some popcorn with it. Whatever we got to do.
Yeah, that'd be cool, man. Actually,
I was gonna say it's more political, but I got in a long one with somebody the other day over hypotheticals, and it led to quite a few likes on Twitter. But still, it was
okay.
One of my most back and forth interactions with anybody on there. So
okay, well, what is it? So I can we can put a pin in it.
It wasn't even nothing major. It was just a political take on. Do you know who Dr. Mike is?
I don't know.
He's a YouTuber. I think he's an actual doctor.
Okay.
But I know he does a lot of videos where he's like, reacting to WWE injuries or reacting to a medical show and like, how accurate is it?
Okay, yeah. I see people do that for like, say, even like the fatalities in Mortal Kombat.
Right, stuff like that. And so, have you seen the one where they sit you like my argument against 20 liberals or my argument against 20 circle room?
Right, yeah.
He did that episode. He did an episode of it, and it's him versus 20 anti-vaxxers.
Oh, damn.
And, you know, there was a girl up there, and she's like throwing off all of her reasons why vaccines are bad and blah, blah, blah. And he gives a pretty decent return. Well, in the comments, one person talked about like, oh, I work in a OR, and over a 5-day period, I had 4 infants come in with sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS or whatever. And every one of them was after a doctor's visit. Mm. And so they're saying that vaccines cause SIDS and it'll cause all these other things. And of course, my argument was within the first year of your life, you go to more doctor's visits than any other part of your life. So I can throw a dart at a calendar and probably pick a day that's within a week after a doctor's appointment as an infant or a week before or whatever. So like you take the coincidence out of anything and you can spin anything you want to fit your narrative.
Right. Yeah.
Which goes to it goes to anything, like even Kendrick and Drake's beef. Like you can spin narrative to whatever you want to without facts.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
You know, you call Drake a pedophile just by throwing a couple things at it and it sticks. It may not be what happened, but it fits my narrative.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah. No,
especially
I get that.
when you get Song of the Year with it.
Right, yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, we can put a pin in that if you want, and you know what I'm saying, we can.
Yeah, I'm down for whatever, boss.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds cool. And if it's all right with you, we can go ahead and end this podcast for today.
Yes, sir.
It's been a good talk. I really do appreciate all the good like comic book talk and stuff, man.
Yeah, it's always fun. Always fun.
Yeah. So yeah, we can do this probably in another couple months or something like that. Maybe even sooner than that. You know.
Yeah, whenever our schedules match up, it's on.
Yeah, I mean. I'm off on like Wednesdays and the weekends or something like that, so it'll probably, you know. I'm off every day right now. But. Yeah. So yeah, I'll cook up something so I can get you back in here and we can like, you know what I'm saying, just shoot the shit on that. Right?
Yes, sir. Whatever you want to. Yeah.
Okay. It sounds good, man. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate y'all if y'all made it to this point at the 2-hour mark. Yeah, we kind of spitballed at the end there, but I mean, you know, that's podcast, you know what I mean? But I do hope that y'all appreciated the comic book portion of this podcast. And again, I'm going to have him back in here. So if y'all enjoy John, let me know in the comments. And appreciate you, John, for hopping on here, man.
Thanks for the invite.
All right, guys. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. And I'm going to catch y'all in the next one. All right. Peace.